The nearest exits are at the north and south rostrum. For occupants at the first floor and front rows of the VIP gallery, the north, south, and main entrance exits are available. For occupants at the VIP gallery, the main entrance and north and south VIP exits are available. For occupants at the second floor gallery, there are exits available at both sides. For occupants at the third floor gallery, there are available exits at the east and west sides. In case of emergency, this is the plenary hall exit plan. For guests situated at the rostrum, the nearest exits are at the north and south rostrum. For occupants at the first floor and front rows of the VIP gallery, the north, south, and main entrance exits are available. For occupants at the VIP gallery, the main entrance and north and south VIP exits are available. For occupants at the second floor gallery, there are exits available at both sides. For occupants at the third floor gallery, there are available exits at the east and west sides.
The session is now called to order. Everyone, my dear colleagues, requested to rise to the singing of our national anthem.
Bayang Maging
Please remain standing for our prayers to be read by Congressperson Marie Bernadette G. Escudero of the 1st District of Sorsogon. Please proceed, ma'am.
Let us all pause and offer thanks. Today we gather in this chamber with renewed purpose, following a peaceful and successful exercise of democracy. Across our beloved nation, Filipinos cast their votes freely and without fear, a testament to the strength of our institutions and the enduring will of the people. We give thanks for the orderly transition this process allows, and for the men and women, newly elected and returning, who have answered the call to serve. May this Congress open with clarity of purpose, courage in conviction, and humility in leadership. Let each debate be grounded in truth, each decision shaped by wisdom, and every voice, regardless of party, guided by the common good. Grant us the grace to disagree without division, to legislate without delay, and to rise above partisanship for the sake of those we represent. As we resume the work of the people, may we never forget the trust placed in us, the responsibility we bear, and the future we shape together. Amen.
Amen. Maraming salamat, Representative Escudero, 1st District of Sorsogon. The Secretary General is now directed to call the roll of members.
Roll call of members. Honorable Representatives, Abalos, Abante, Abunda, Acharon, Asidre, Acop, Adyong, Advincula, Agaraw, Alba, Albano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez Jose, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Angara, Aquino Magsaysay, Arbison, Arenas, Arrogancia, Asistio, Ataide, Omentado, Balindong, Barba, Barbers, Baronda, Bascug, Bautista, Bautistelin, Bernos, Biliones, Biron, Bolilia, Bondok, Bongalon, Bordado, Bosita, Briones, Brosas, Buhain, Bulot Begtang, Bustos, Cabredo, Cagas, Kahayon Uy, Calderon, Calixto, Campos, Kawagdan, Cardema, Cari, Castro Franz, Castro Jean, Celeste, Sendania, Chan, Chato, Chua, Chungalaw, Ko Angelica Natasha, Ko Elizaldi, Ko Pilar, Ko Juanco Jaime Eduardo Mark, Ko Juanco Mark, Colada, Coliantes, Corvera, Cruz Ambrosio, Cruz Ricardo, Cua, Quaresma, Dagook, Dalipe, Dalog, Dayang Hirang, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, Defensor, Del Mar, De Los Santos, Dimaporo Muhammad Khalid, Dimaporo City Amina, Dionisio, Domingo, Duavit, Duhali, Duterte, D. Faustino Ino, D. Faustino Michael Carlos, D. Ian Paul, Ecleo, Emano, Enverga, Escudero, Espares, Espina, Estrella, Yudela, Farinas, Fernandez, Ferrer Antonio, Ferrer Juliet Marie, Flores, Fortes, Frasco, Fresnedi, Fuentebella, Galeyos, Garcia Albert, Garcia Dante, Garcia Jose Arturo, Garcia Maria Angela, Garcia Pablo Jan, Garcia Vincent, Guardiola, Garin, Gasataya, Gato, Goed Christopher, Gomart, Goles, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Aurelio, Gonzales Neptali, Gonzales Sandro, Goriseta, Guico, Gintu, Gulias, Gutierrez, Haresco, Hataman, Hernandez, Herrera, Oribata, Javier, Co Olga, Co Ricardo, Co Wilton, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lacson Noel, Lagon Daphne, Lagon Sani, Lara, Lazatin, Lee, Legarda, Libanan, Limkaychong, Loyola, Luistro, Lumayag, Makapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Magsino, Malapitan, Mangawang, Maniquis, Manuel, Maranyon, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariano Hernandez, Marinio, Marquez, Martinez, Mastura, Matibag, Matugas, Mendoza, Mercado, Mercado Revilla, Miguel, Momo, Morden, Nava, Nisay, Nograles, Nograles Almario, Nolasco, Uwaminal, Olaso, Olivares, Ongchuan, Ordanes, Ortega, Uwano Dizon, Padiernos, Paduano, Paglas, Palma, Panaligan, Pancho, Panotes, Pascual, Peña, Pimentel, Plaza, Pleito, Primicia Sagabas, Pumaren, Puno, Kimbo, Rama, Regencia, Remulia, Revilla Brian, Revilla Ramonjolo, Reyes, Rilio, Rivera, Robes, Rodriguez Eulogio, Rodriguez Rufus, Roman, Romero, Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Romualdez Yeda Marie, Romualdo, Romulo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sakaluran, Salceda, Sali, Salimbangon, Salo, Santos, Saulug, Silverio, Singson Richel, Singson Ronald, Singson Mihan, Solon, Suwan, Suwansing Horacio, Suwansing Micaela Angela, Suarez, Talyado, Tamayo, Tambunting, Tan Joseph, Tan Keith Micah, Tan Reynolds Michael, Tan Samir, Tan Stephen James, Tan Tambut, Tan Chay, Tan Watco, Tariela, Teodoro, Teves, Tiangco, Tieng, Tolentino, Tulfo Irwin, Tulfo Jocelyn, Tulfo Ralph Wendell, Tupas, Tutor, T, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Uy, Valeriano, Valmayor, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velasco, Veloso Tuazon, Vergara, Verzosa, Villa, Villafuerte Luis Raymond, Villafuerte Miguel Luis, Villanueva, Villar, Villaraza Suarez, Villarica, Violago, Yamsuan, Yap Christiantel, Yap Christopherson, Yap Edvic, Yap Eric, U Divina Grace, U Giselle Victoria, Yulo, Zamora Amparo Maria, Zamora Maria Carmen, Zamora Isabel Maria, Zubiri. Mr. Speaker, the roll call shows that 172 members responded to the call.
With 172 members responding to the call, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, considering that copies of Journal Number 35, dated January 27 and 28, 2025, and Journal Number 36, dated February 3, 4, and 5, 2025, were already distributed to the members, I move to dispense with the reading thereof and subsequently to approve the said journals. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Majority Leader, and good afternoon. Is there no objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. The reading of the said journals is dispensed with, and Journal Number 35, dated January 27 and 28, 2025, and Journal Number 36, dated February 3, 4, and 5, 2025, are hereby approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we proceed with the reference of business and that the Secretary General be directed to read the titles of the resolutions, bills on the first reading, and the communications and committee reports. So moved.
Is there an objection? The chair hears none. The Secretary General is directed to read the titles of bills and resolutions on first reading as well as messages, communications, and committee reports for referral to the appropriate committee. Secretary General.
Reference of business, bills on first reading. House Bill Number 11441, reapportioning the lone legislative district of the City of General Santos into 2 legislative districts by Representative Acharon.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill Number 11444, mandating the DOH to ensure the availability of medicines and procurement of medical equipment in all public hospitals through the utilization of the medical assistance to indigent and financially incapacitated patients fund by Representatives Tulfo Irwin, Yap Edvic, Yap Eric, and Tulfo Ralph Wendell.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill Number 11445, providing for the social pension of persons with disability by Representative De Los Santos.
To the Special Committee on Persons with Disabilities.
House Bill Number 11446, ensuring the rights, welfare, and safety of BPO workers in the Philippines by Representative Reyes.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill Number 11449, mandating the PhilHealth to adopt a prospective payment mechanism for government-owned health facilities with the provision for future implementation for privately owned health facilities by
To the
Representative
Committee on
Rodriguez
Health.
Rufus. House Bill Number 11455, authorizing the PhilHealth to adopt an amnesty program for health facilities and shift to the imposition of penalties instead of accreditation, suspension, or revocation by Representative Rodriguez Rufus.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill Number 11456, mandating the PhilHealth to increase by 50% the PhilHealth benefits for ward accommodation by Representative Rodriguez Rufus.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill Number 11457, establishing malasakit centers in private hospitals by Representative Herrera.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill Number 11458, authorizing the PhilHealth to adopt an amnesty and condonation program for premium contributions by Representative Rodriguez Rufus.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 11462, granting franchise to Isabela 1 Electric Cooperative, Inc. for the conveyance of electric power to the end users in certain cities and municipalities in the province of Isabela, by Representatives De Jesus and Dagoc.
To the Committee on Legislative Franchises.
House Bill number 11463, establishing Marikina Polytechnic College as the National Technical Vocational Education and Training University, by Representative Kimbo.
To the Committee on Higher Technical Education.
House Bill number 11464, granting Filipino citizenship to Nitish Girdari Lal Kemani, by Representative Romualdo.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill number 11465, establishing a special economic zone in the city of Marikina, creating for the purpose the Marikina Special Economic Zone Authority, by Representative Kimbo.
To the Committee on Economic Affairs and Committee on Trade and Industry.
House Bill number 11466, defining and prohibiting elder abuse, by Representative Sendanya.
To the Committee on Senior Citizens.
House Bill number 11467, providing free hemodialysis, peritoneal dialysis, and other DOH-approved dialysis procedures to all senior citizens, by Representative Sendanya.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 11469, granting Philippine citizenship to Andres Miguel Soriano IV, by Representative Tolentino.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill number 11470, granting franchise to Batangas 2 Electric Cooperative, Inc. for the conveyance of electric power to the end users in certain cities and municipalities in the province of Batangas, by Representatives De Jesus and Dagoc.
To the Committee on Legislative Franchise.
House Bill number 11471, strengthening protections against trafficking in persons, by Representative Sendanya.
To the Committee on Welfare of Children.
House Bill number 11472, requiring front-of-package warning labels for pre-packaged food and non-alcoholic beverages, by Representative Fariñas.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 11473, providing additional trial time limit safeguards for accused persons who are mentally incompetent or physically unable to stand trial, by Representative Fariñas.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill number 11474, the Magna Carta of Waste Workers, by Representatives Manuel Brosas and Castro Franz.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill number 11475, converting the South Cotabato State College into South Cotabato State University in Surala, South Cotabato, by Representative Miguel.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill number 11476, declaring January 18 of every year a special non-working holiday for all kasambahays in the Philippines, by Representative Sendanya.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill number 11477, providing for a system of recognition of churches, sects, religious groups, or organizations in the Philippines, by Representative Salo.
To the Committee on Revision of Laws.
House Bill number 11478, defining the rights and fundamental freedoms of human rights defenders, by Representative Sendanya.
To the Committee on Human Rights.
House Bill number 11479, amending certain sections of Presidential Decree 1619 entitled Penalizing the Use or Possession or the Unauthorized Sale to Minors of Volatile Substances for the purpose of inducing intoxication or in any manner changing, distorting, or disturbing the auditory, visual, or mental process by increasing the fines and penalties prescribed by the law, by Representative Rodriguez Rufus.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill number 11480, declaring as national heroes the Mindanaoans who resisted the Japanese occupation forces during World War II, by Representative Rodriguez Rufus.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill number 11481, mandating the provision of prayer breaks and designated prayer spaces for Muslim employees in the public and private sectors, by Representatives Tulfo Erwin, Yap Edvic, Yap Eric, and Tulfo Ralph Wendell.
To the Committee on Muslim Affairs.
House Bill number 11482, creating 4 additional branches of the RTC, including a family court, 2 branches of MTC, and 1 branch of MTCC in the 3rd Judicial Region to be stationed in the province of Bataan, by Representative Garcia Albert.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill number 11483, renaming Camp Edelberto Evangelista into Camp Jose Montalvan in honor of a Cagayanon and Mindanaonon war hero who fought against the Japanese to ensure that the Philippines retains its independence, by Representative Rodriguez Rufus.
To the Committee on National Defense and Security.
House Bill number 11484, defining the crime of subordination of perjury, by Representative Sendanya.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill number 11485, decriminalizing qualified theft of coconuts and reclassifying it as simple theft, by Representative Sendanya.
to the Committee on Agriculture and Food,
House Bill number 11486, repealing Article 266-C, the Forgiveness Clause, and amending Articles 23, 89, and 344 of the Revised Penal Code as amended by the Anti-Rape Law of 1997 by Representative Sendanya.
to the Committee on Revision of Laws,
House Bill number 11487, repealing the excise tax on fuel provision of the train law by Representative Bautista Lim.
to the Committee on Ways and Means,
House Bill number 11488, enhancing the protection of workers from gender-based violence and sexual harassment in their workplace by Representative Mendoza.
to the Committee on Women and Gender Equality,
House Bill number 11489, establishing a multi-species marine hatchery in Pilar, Bataan by Representative Garcia Albert.
to the Committee on Aquaculture and Fisheries Resources,
House Bill number 11491, ensuring public access to official records and government data by Representative Sendanya.
to the Committee on Public Information,
House Bill number 11492, regulating the sale and packaging of alcohol products by Representative Sendanya.
to the Committee on Trade and Industry,
House Bill number 11493, increasing the excise tax on pre-mixed alcoholic beverages by Representative Sendanya.
to the Committee on Ways and Means,
House Bill number 11494, defining the crime of child pornography and online sexual exploitation by Representative Suwan.
to the Committee on Revision of Laws,
House Bill number 11495, amending Article 117 of the Revised Penal Code of the Philippines as amended, punishing conspiracy and proposal to commit espionage and misprision of espionage by Representative Suwan.
to the Committee on Revision of Laws,
House Bill number 11496, establishing the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines Lumbia Campus in Lumbia, Cagayan de Oro, Misamis Oriental by Representative Suwan.
to the Committee on Higher and Technical Education,
House Bill number 11498, including misogynistic and discriminatory remarks and acts in the grounds for disqualification of candidates in local and national elections by Representative Brosas.
to the Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms,
House Bill number 11499, amending Section 6 of the Climate Change Act of 2009 by Representative Lee.
to the Committee on Climate Change,
House Bill number 11500, further increasing the social pension of indigent senior citizens by Representative Miguel.
to the Committee on Senior Citizens,
Resolutions, House Resolution 2230, honoring and recognizing the personal achievements of Dr. Efraim C. Enduino and expressing the country's profound appreciation for his various official accomplishments as Chairman and CEO of the PAGCOR by Representative Fernandez.
to the Committee on Games and Amusements,
House Resolution number 2232, marking the 80th United Nations founding anniversary as an SDGs and Peace Climate Techno-Resilient Action Year, with continued support on a national scale initiation of a global cultural Olympic within COP30 in Brazil by Representative Rodriguez Rufus.
to the Committee on Climate Change,
House Resolution number 2234, declaring the 12th of July to be National West Philippine Sea Victory Day in commemoration of the Philippines' triumph before the Permanent Court of Arbitration by Representative Sendanya.
to the Committee on Revision of Laws,
House Resolution number 2235, congratulating and commending the Philippine curling team for winning the gold medal in the recently concluded 9th Asian Winter Games held in Harbin, China from February 7 to 14, 2025 by Representative Plato.
to the Committee on Youth and Sports Development,
House Resolution number 2236, congratulating and commending Dia Mate for being crowned as the Reina Hispano-Americana 2025 by Representative Remulla.
to the Committee on Creative Industries,
House Resolution number 2238, expressing profound condolences of the House of Representatives on the demise of Margarita Flores by Representative Olivares.
to the Committee on Rules,
House Resolution number 2241, expressing the great pride and joy of Filipinos in the gold medal won by the Philippine men's curling team composed of Mark Feister, Enrico Feister, Alan Frey, Christian Haller, and Benja de Larmente in the 9th Asian Winter Games held in Harbin, Heilongjiang, China, last February 7 to 14, 2025 by Representative Tolentino.
to the Committee on Youth and Sports Development,
House Resolution number 2242, calling for an investigation by the House into the serious delay in the reconstruction of the Faculty Center for the College of Arts and Letters community in UP Diliman by Representatives Manuel Brosas and Castro Franz.
to the Committee on Rules,
House Resolution number 2243, urging the House to conduct an immediate investigation into the unauthorized operation of the Bachelor of Science in Nursing program at Holy Child Colleges of Butuan by Representative Sendanya.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution number 2244, urging the DOH and other relevant government agencies to conduct an impact assessment of the United States Executive Order fostering foreign aid to the Philippines HIV and AIDS response by Representative Sendanya.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution number 2245, congratulating and commending the members of the Philippine men's curling team for making history by winning the first ever gold medal in the 2025 Asian Winter Games held in China on February 7 to 14, 2025. Representative D. Faustina Michael Carlos.
To the Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Resolution number 2246, urging the House to conduct an investigation on the DPWH and all its officers and employees that had a hand in the conceptualization, design, approval, award, implementation, inspection, and evaluation of the Cabagan Santa Maria Bridge in the province of Isabela by Representative Abante.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution number 2247, declaring the month of March as Bawal Bastos Awareness Month, urging the Philippine Commission on Women to conduct a compliance audit of government agencies, LGUs, and private establishments to the provisions of the Safe Spaces Act by Representative Sendanya.
To the Committee on Women and Gender Equality.
House Resolution number 2249, urging the House to conduct an investigation into the collapse of the Cabagan Santa Maria Bridge in Isabela Province by Representatives Castro Franz, Brosas, and Manuel.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution number 2250, directing the appropriate committees of the House to conduct an investigation on the asphalt deterioration and of the latest condition of the Pangil Bay Bridge by Representatives Oaminal and Almonte.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution number 2251, expressing support and well wishes for the full recovery of His Holiness Pope Francis and strength for the entire Roman Catholic Church by Representative Vargas. To the
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution number 2252, urging the Committee on Basic Education and Culture and other appropriate committees of the House to conduct an inquiry into the alleged misuse of the Education Service Contracting School Voucher Program funds involving ghost students and other unlawful schemes by Representative Rodriguez Rufus.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution number 2253, urging the DepEd to retain senior high school as a mandatory part of the basic education system by Representative Rodriguez Rufus.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Resolution number 2254, opposing the mandatory reinstatement of the ROTC program in light of continuing abuses and violations of students' rights, and calling on the appropriate House committees to investigate the implementation of the ROTC program by Representatives Manuel, Castro Franz, and Brosas.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution number 2255, honoring the life and legacy of veteran Philippine screen icon Delia Razon and extending the deepest sympathies and sincerest condolences of the House over her passing. Representatives Mercado Revilla, Revilla Bryan, and Revilla Ramon Jolo.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2256, urging the National Museum of the Philippines and the National Commission for Culture and the Arts to work for the return of the Golden Tara to the Philippines, specifically to the province of Agusan del Sur, by Representative Rodriguez Rufus.
To the Special Committee on Creative Industries.
House Resolution 2257, directing the DPWH as lead agency to conduct a comprehensive inspection and audit of bridges, flyovers, overpasses, viaducts, aqueducts, and similar structures to determine their structural integrity, safety, and fitness, by Representative Valeriano.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2258, congratulating and commending Alexandra Alex Ayala for becoming the first Filipino player to defeat a top 5 ranked player in professional women's tennis, by Representative Tiangco.
To the Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Resolution 2259, commending and congratulating Alexandra Alex Maniego Ayala for her outstanding performance in representation of the country for breaking into the WTA 1000 Top 100, by Representative Romero.
To the Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Resolution 2260, directing the appropriate committee to conduct an inquiry into the implementation of the Safe Spaces Act in light of sexist and gender-based statements made by candidates for the 2025 local and national elections, by Representative Herrera.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2262, calling for an immediate investigation into the collapse of a concrete column at the MRT construction site along West Avenue in Quezon City, by Representative Herrera.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2263, honoring the life and legacy of the Asia's Queen of Song, Pelita Corrales, and extending the deepest sympathies and sincerest condolences of the House over her passing, by Representatives Mercado Revilla, Revilla Bryan, and Revilla Ramon Jolo.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2264, honoring the life and legacy of national artist Nora Honor, recognizing her outstanding contributions to Philippine cinema, music, and culture, and expressing profound condolences of the House over her passing, by Representatives Mercado Revilla, Revilla Bryan, and Revilla Ramon Jolo.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2265, expressing the profound sympathy and sincere condolences of the House on the death of His Holiness Pope Francis, 266th Pontiff of the Roman Catholic Church, by Representative Lee.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2266, expressing the profound condolences and deepest sympathy of the House on the passing of His Holiness Pope Francis Jorge Mario Bergoglio on April 21, 2025 at the age of 88, by Representative Plato.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2267, congratulating and commending Alexi Brooks for winning the Miss Eco International Crown 2025 in the recently concluded pageant held in Alexandria, Egypt on April 19, 2025, by Representative Plato.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2268, expressing deepest sympathies and condolences of the House on the demise of His Holiness Pope Francis, by Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2269, expressing profound condolences of the House on the demise of Angelito Toledo Haji Alejandro, by Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2270, congratulating and commending Ms. Alexi May Caimoso Brooks for winning the Miss Eco International 2025 held in Egypt on April 19, 2025, by Representative Olivares.
To the Special Committee on Creative Industries.
House Resolution 2271, directing the Committees on Agriculture and Food and Aquaculture and Fisheries Resources to conduct an investigation on the socio-economic impact of the Laguna Lakeshore Road Network on farmers, farm workers, fishers, residents, and other affected sectors, by Representatives Brosas, Castro Franz, and Manuel.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2272, directing the Committees on Agriculture and Food, Aquaculture, and Fisheries Resources to conduct an investigation on the impact of the Laguna Lake Floating Solar Farm project on fisheries, farmers, farm workers, and other affected sectors, by Representatives Brosas, Castro Franz, and Manuel.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2273, expressing the heartfelt condolences of the House to the family of the Honorable Violeta T. Labaria, former representative of the 2nd Legislative District of Bukidnon during the 8th Congress, by Representative Flores.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2274, congratulating and commending the Philippine delegation for their achievements at the 2025 Geneva International Exhibition of Inventions, held from April 9 to 13, 2025 in Geneva, Switzerland, by Representative Plato.
To the Committee on Science and Technology.
House Resolution 2275, urging the Committee on Natural Resources to investigate the Mines and Geosciences Bureau's proposal to declare a mining reservation spanning 3,715 hectares in different municipalities of Antique, threatening the environment, indigenous communities, and local sustainability, by Representatives Manuel, Castro Franz, and Brosas.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2276, endorsing the Building a Better Mindanao campaign to advance sustainable development, foster regional unity, and promote progress in Mindanao, by Representative Imano.
To the Committee of Mindanao Affairs.
Messages from the President. Veto message dated March 12, 2025 of President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. on Senate Bill 2797 and House Bill 10634 on declaring the province of Pampanga as the culinary capital of the Philippines.
To the Committee on Rules.
Veto message dated April 11, 2025 of the President on House Bill 8839 on granting Philippine citizenship to Lee Duan Wang.
To the Committee on Rules.
Veto message dated April 11, 2025 of the President on House Bill 7406 on the amendments to the revised charter of the City of Baguio.
To the Committee on Rules.
Veto message dated April 24, 2025 of the President on Senate Bill 2647 and House Bill 8505 on strengthening the BCDA.
To the Committee on Rules. Secretary General, we will... Session is suspended.
Session resumed.
Our esteemed colleagues, the Honorable Speaker, Ferdinand Martin G. Romualdez, will address the body.
Thank you. Please take your seats. Deputy Speakers, Majority and Minority Leaders, my dear colleagues in this People's House, ladies and gentlemen, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. We gather today, just 2 weeks before the sine die adjournment of the 19th Congress. But this isn't just the final stretch of the session. It is also the first time we reconvene after the 2025 midterm elections, an event that has reshaped our political landscape and renewed the people's mandate for governance. Let me begin with a heartfelt message to all of you. To those who prevailed, congratulations. The people have placed their trust in you once again. Carry that trust with honor, humility, and grace. Use your renewed mandate to fight even harder for their needs, for their hopes, and for the future where no Filipino is left behind. And to the rest of my colleagues, saludo po ako sa inyo. Your service in this chamber will not be forgotten. Hindi man kayo nabigyan muli ng panibagong termino, tandaan ninyo, you were a part of something bigger than any one election. You helped us pass laws, you shaped debate, you served your districts with passion and integrity. You gave your all, and the Filipino people saw it. Your legacy is now woven into the fabric of this Congress. At kahit wala na kayo dito sa susunod na panahon, mananatili kayong bahagi ng tagumpay ng 19th Congress. Let me say this with pride, this House of the People delivered. Of the 28 LEDAC priority bills, we acted on 27. For the broader common legislative agenda, we approved 61 out of 64. But this isn't about numbers. It's about lives. We cracked down on smugglers and hoarders who make basic goods unaffordable for ordinary families. We gave stronger support to our rice farmers with $30 billion a year for seeds, mechanization, and productivity. We passed laws to fix job skills mismatches, invest in young workers, and prepare our people for the demands of a modern economy. We passed the Magna Carta for Filipino seafarers to give dignity and protection to those who power our global maritime reputation. These are real solutions to real problems, not just speeches, not just slogans. Tunay na malasakit, tunay ng pagbabago. And we did this not through political dominance, but through political unity. We bridged divides, we reached across parties, we listened to one another, debated with one another, but in the end, we voted for the Filipino. We showed that in the face of challenge, this House stood strong. We chose country over color, service over self. This is the power of democracy. This is the spirit of Bagong Pilipinas. Pero mga kasama, hindi pa tapos ang laban. We still have important work to do in these final 2 weeks. Let us pass the Open Access in Data Transmission Act to make fast, reliable internet accessible to every barangay. Let us finalize the E-Governance Act so that public services become faster, smarter, and less prone to red tape. Let us pass the first ever Philippine legislation on artificial intelligence to embrace innovation while protecting ethics, privacy, and human dignity. Let us support the 20 peso rice program of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., not just as a national policy, but as a promise to every Filipino family struggling to make ends meet. As we prepare to close this chapter, we must also defend the democratic institutions we represent. Fake news, online manipulation, disinformation, these are not just annoyances, they are threats to the truth and to trust. Let the House of the People be a bastion of fact, reason, and fairness. Let us defend the public's right to know the truth and protect the sanctity of our elections and institutions. Mga kasama, maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. Whether you are returning in the 20th Congress or closing your final term in public office, you are part of the legacy of one of the most productive and united Congresses in Philippine history. Let us use every remaining hour, every session day, every ounce of our energy to complete what we started. Let history remember us not just as lawmakers, but as leaders who chose unity over division, service over ambition, and people over politics. Tuloy ang trabaho, tuloy ang malasakit. Tuloy ang bagong Pilipinas. Mabuhay ang mga laking kapulungan ng Kongreso. Mabuhay ang sawaynang Pilipino. Maraming salamat po. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend session for a few minutes.
Session suspended.
Session resumes. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we resume the reference of business.
Secretary General, please continue.
Reference of business. Message from the President. Veto message dated May 8, 2025 of the President on Senate Bill 2804 and House Bill 11230 on the new charter of the DBP.
To the Committee on Rules.
Messages from the Senate. Messages dated February 4, 2025, informing the House of Representatives that on February 3, 2025, the Senate passed the following House bills as amended by the substitution. House Bill numbers 9470, 9480, 9488, 9489, 9492, 9494, 9495, and 9496 on creating additional RTCs and MTCs in certain judicial regions.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill 9988 on the establishment of Don Honorio Ventura State University City of San Fernando Campus Act, and House Bill 9989 on the revised Don Honorio Ventura State University Charter.
To the Committee on Rules.
Messages dated February 4, 2025, informing the House that on February 3, 2025, the Senate passed the following House bills with amendments. House Bill 8925 on the Philippine Islamic Burial Act, House Bill numbers 10081, 10083, 10146, 10241, 10258, 10418, and 10472 on increasing bed capacities and establishing a district hospital in certain localities.
To the Committee on Rules.
Message dated February 4, 2025, informing the House that on February 3, 2025, the Senate passed with amendment by substitution House Bill 9493 on creating additional branches of RTCs, family courts, and special courts for environmental cases, all in the province of Palawan.
To the Committee on Rules.
Message dated February 4, 2025, informing the House that on February 3, 2025, the Senate designated Senators Cayetano, Alan, Revilla, and Pimentel as conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing votes of House Bill 9989 on the revised Don Honorio Ventura State University Charter.
Committee on Justice.
Message dated February 4, 2025, informing the House that on February 3, 2025, the Senate designated Senators Cayetano, Alan, Lapid, and Pimentel as conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 2781 and House Bill 7327 on the E-Governance Act.
To the Committee on Rules. To the Committee on Information and Communication Technology.
Message dated February 4, 2025, informing the House that on February 3, 2025, the Senate designated Senators Ejercito, Escudero, Villar, Mark, Cayetano, Alan, and Pimentel as conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 2826 and House Bill 8937 on the fiscal regime for the mining industry.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
Message dated February 4, 2025, informing the House that on February 3, 2025, the Senate designated Senators Escudero, Ejercito, and Pimentel as conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 2942 and House Bill 11144 on resetting the first regular elections in the Bangsamoro region in Muslim Mindanao.
The Committee on Rules.
Message dated February 4, 2025, informing the House that on even date, the Senate approved the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 2942 and House Bill 11144 on resetting the first regular elections in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao.
To the Committee on Rules.
Message dated February 4, 2025, informing the House that on even date, the Senate approved the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 2863 and House Bill 10466 on Foreign Affairs Retirements Benefit Act.
To the Committee on Rules.
Message dated February 4, 2025, informing the House that on February 3, 2025, the Senate approved the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 1410 and House Bill 5693 on the National Day of Our Women's on hijab and other traditional garments and attire.
To the Committee on Rules.
Message dated February 4, 2025, informing the House that on February 3, 2025, the Senate approved the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 2837 and House Bill 10592 on the amendments to the APIRA.
To the Committee on Rules.
Message dated February 5, 2025, informing the House that on February 4, 2025, the Senate approved the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 2872 and House Bill 4896 on the National Education Support Personnel Day Act.
Committee on Rules.
Message dated February 5, 2025, informing the House that on February 4, 2025, the Senate approved the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 2825 and House Bill 10730 on the FIVOX Modernization Act.
The Committee on Rules.
Message dated February 5, 2025, informing the House that on February 4, 2025, the Senate approved the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 2575 and House Bill 10142 on the Early Childhood Care and Development System Act.
The Committee on Rules.
Message dated February 5, 2025, informing the House that on even date, the Senate approved the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 2804 and House Bill 11230 on the new charter of the Development Bank of the Philippines.
The Committee on Rules.
Message dated February 5, 2025, informing the House that on even date, the Senate passed Senate Bill 2699 on the Konektadong Pinoy Act, in which it requests the concurrence of the House of Representatives.
To the Committee on Information and Communication Technology.
Message dated February 6, 2025, informing the House that on February 5, 2025, the Senate designated Senators Villar, Cynthia, De La Rosa, and Pimentel as conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 2558 and House Bill 11355 on the Animal Industry Development and Competitiveness Act.
The Committee on Agriculture and Food.
Message dated February 6, 2026, informing the House that on February 5, 2025, the Senate approved the Conference Committee report on disagreeing votes on House Bill 9989 on the revised Don Honore Ventura State University Charter.
The Committee on Rules.
Message dated February 6, 2025, informing the House that on February 5, 2025, the Senate approved on the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 2865 and House Bill 9277 on the Capital Markets Efficiency Promotion Act.
Committee on Rules.
Message dated February 6, 2026, informing the House that on February 5, 2025, the Senate designated Senators Cayetano Pia, Cayetano Island, Villanueva, Ejercito, and Pimentel as conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 2893 and House Bill 6452 on the Virology and Vaccine Institute of the Philippines Act.
To the Committee on Health.
Message dated February 11, 2025, informing the House that on February 4, 2025, the Senate designated Senators Ejercito, Go, Cayetano Pia, De La Rosa, and Ontiveros as conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 2620 and House Bill 6772 on amending Universal Health Care Act.
The Committee on Health.
Message dated February 11, 2025, informing the House that on February 5, 2025, the Senate designated Senators Cayetano Alan, Poe, Gatchalian, Escudero, and Pimentel as conferees to the Conference Committee on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 2699 and House Bill 6 on the Konektadong Pinoy Act.
To the Committee on Information and Communication Technology.
Communications. Letter dated January 27, 2025 of the Executive Secretary, Office of the President, Malacanang, to the Honorable Senate President Escudero, copy furnished the Honorable Speaker Romualdez, transmitting the letter of President Marcos Jr., certifying to the necessity of the immediate enactment of Senate Bill 2699 on the Konektadong Pinoy Act.
The Committee on Information and Communication Technology.
Letter dated January 28, 2025 of the Executive Secretary, Office of the President, Malacanang, to the Honorable Senate President. Copy furnished Honorable Speaker, transmitting the letter of President certifying to the necessity of immediate enactment of Senate Bill 2942 on resetting the first regular elections in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao.
To the Committee on Suffrage and Electoral Reforms.
Letters dated February 14, 18, 20, and March 4, 2025 of the Executive Secretary, Office of the President, Malacanang, transmitting 2 original copies of the following Republic Acts, which were signed by the President. RA 12121, creating additional branches of the RCT and MTC in the National Capital Judicial Region to be stationed in the city of San Juan. RA 12122, fixing the term of office of the Philippine Coast Guard Commandant. RA 1213, resetting the first regular elections in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, and RA 1214, institutionalizing the expanded tertiary education equivalency and accreditation program.
To the archives.
Letter dated March 17, 2025 of the Executive Secretary, Office of President, Malacanang, transmitting two original copies each of Republic Act numbers 12125, 12126, 12127, 12128, 12129, 12130, 12131, 12132, 12133, and 12134, which were signed by the President.
To the archives.
Letters dated March 27 and April 10, 2025 of the Executive Secretary, Office of the President, Malacanang, transmitting two original copies each of Republic Act numbers 12135, 12136, 12137, 12138, 12139, 12140, 12141, 12142, 12143, and 12145, which were signed by the President.
To the archives.
Letter dated April 8, 2025 of the Executive Secretary, Office of the President, Malacanang, transmitting two original copies of Republic Act 12144 on extending for another 25 years the franchise granted to the Naval Light and Power Company, Inc., which lapsed into law.
To the archives.
Letters dated April 15 and 21, 2025 of the Executive Secretary, Office of the President, Malacanang, transmitting two original copies each of Republic Act numbers 12146, 12147, 12148, 12149, 12150, 12151, 12152, 12153, 12154, 12155, 12156, 12157, 12158, 12159, 12160, 12161, 12162, 12163, 12164, 12165, 12166, 12167, 12168, 12169, 12170, 12171, 12172, 12173, 12174, 12175, 12176, 12177, and 12178, which were signed by the President.
To the archives.
Letter dated April 2022, 2025 of the Executive Secretary, Office of the President, Malacanang, transmitting two original copies of Republic Act number 12179 on the amendments to the IPIRA, which lapsed into law.
To the archives.
Letters dated April 24, May 2, and 5, 2025 of the Executive Secretary, Office of the President, Malacanang, transmitting two original copies each of Republic Act numbers 12180, 12181, 12182, 12183, 12184, 12185, 12186, 12187, 12188, 12189, 12190, 12191, 12192, 12193, and 12194, which were signed by the President.
To the archives.
Letters dated May 9 and 22, 2025 of the Executive Secretary, Office of the President, Malacanang, transmitting two original copies each of Republic Act numbers 12195, 12196, 12197, 12198, 12199, 12200, 12201, 12202, 12203, 12204, 12205, 12206, 12207, 12208, 12209, 12210, 12211, 12212, and 12213, which were signed by the President.
To the archives.
Report dated December 10, 2024 of the Secretary General, House of Representatives on enrolled copies of the consolidated version of Senate Bill 2793 and House Bill 8456 on promoting the development of the Philippine natural gas industry, which were returned to the Senate on December 5, 2024, and to be transmitted to the Office of the President for His Excellency's consideration and signature, pursuant to Section 18H, Rule 6 of the Rules of the House. Reports dated December 10, 2024 of the Secretary General, House of Representatives on copies of House Bill number 7316, 8700, 9656, and 10048, which were transmitted on December 6, 2024 to the Office of the President for His Excellency's consideration and signature, pursuant to Section 18H, Rule 6 of the Rules of the House. Report dated January 7, 2025 of the Secretary General, House of Representatives on enrolled copies of House Bill 10800 on appropriating funds for the operation of the Government of the Republic of the Philippines from January 1 to December 31, 2025, which were transmitted to the Office of the President on December 20, 2024 for His Excellency's consideration and signature, pursuant to Section 18H, Rule 6 of the Rules of the House. Report dated January 27, 2025 of the Secretary General, House of Representatives on enrolled copies of House Bill 8259 on creating additional branches of the RTC and MTC in the National Capital Judicial Region to be stationed in the city of San Juan, which were transmitted to the Office of the President on January 16, 2025 for His Excellency's consideration and signature pursuant to Section 18H, Rule 6 of the Rules of the House. Committee reports. Committee Report 1422, submitted by the Committees on Higher and Technical Education and Appropriations on House Bill 11438. Committee Report numbers 1423, 1439, and 1444, submitted by the Committees on Higher and Technical Education, Appropriations, and Ways and Means on House Bill numbers 11439, 11149, and 11468, respectively. Committee Report 1424, submitted by the Committees on Youth and Sports Development and Appropriations on House Bill 11440. Committee Report numbers 1425, 1426, 1437, 1440, and 1450, submitted by the Committee on Local Government on House Bill numbers 11442, 11443, 1824, 11460, and 11501, respectively. Committee Report 1427, submitted by the Committees on Population and Family Relations and Appropriations on House Bill 11117. Committee Report 1428, submitted by the Committee on Climate Change on House Resolution 2231. Committee Report numbers 1429, 1430, and 1456, submitted by the Committees on Basic Education and Culture and Appropriations on House Bill numbers 11447, 11448, 1152, respectively. Committee Report 1431, submitted by the Committees on Poverty Alleviation and Appropriations on House Bill 11450. Committee Report 1432, submitted by the Committees on Civil Service and Professional Regulation and Appropriations on House Bill 11451. Committee Report 1433, submitted by the Special Committee on Persons with Disabilities on House Bill 11452. Committee Report 1434, submitted by the Committee on Health on House Resolution 2233. Committee Report 1435, submitted by the Committees on Civil Service and Professional Regulation, Health, and Appropriations on House Bill 11453. Committee Report 1436, submitted by the Committees on Local Government and Appropriations on House Bill 11454. Committee Report numbers 1438, 1442, 1443, 1449, and 1457, submitted by the Committee on Youth and Sports Development on House Resolution numbers 2237, 2239, 2240, 2261, and 2296, respectively. Committee Report 1441, submitted by the Committees on Muslim Affairs and Appropriations on House Bill 11461. Committee Report 1445, submitted by the Special Committee on Creative Industries on House Resolution 2248. Committee Report 1446, submitted by the Committee on Housing and Urban Development on House Bill 11490. Committee Report numbers 1447 and 1448, submitted by the Committee on Metro Manila Development on House Resolution 1224 and House Bill 11497. Committee Report 1451, submitted by the Committee on Legislative Franchises on House Bill 11505. Committee Report numbers 1452 and 1453, submitted by the Committees on Transportation and Appropriations on House Bill numbers 11508 and 11509. Committee Report 1454, submitted by the Committees on Public Works and Highways and Appropriations on House Bill 9992. Committee Report 1455, submitted by the Committees on Economic Affairs, Trade and Industry, Ways and Means and Appropriations on House Bill 11510.
The aforementioned committee reports are all referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to acknowledge the guests of Representative Arlene Brosses of the Gabriela Women's Party List. They are the leaders and members of various labor organizations, namely former Rep. Ariel Casilao, the chairperson of Union ng Manggagawa sa Agrikultura, Jerome Adonis from Kilusang Mayo Uno, Charlito Arevalo, spokesperson of Unity for Wage Increase Network, Jacqueline Ruiz, spokesperson of Kilusan ng Manggagawang Kababaihan, Maylene Cabalona, National President of the BPO Industry Employees Network, Julie Ann Gutierrez from Kilos ng Manggagawa, Eufemia Doringo, Secretary General of Kalipunan ng Damayang Mahihirap, Julius Carandang, Secretary of Metal Workers Alliance of the Philippines, Mary Ann Castillo, President of Nexepria Workers Union, Robert Mendoza, former National President of the Alliance of Health Workers, Mylene Tiangco, National Treasurer of the Alliance of Health Workers, Manuel Baclagon, Secretary General of Courage, Ivan Ilagan, Second Vice President of Gabay ng Union ng Telekomunikasyon ng mga Supervisor of PLDT, and Santiago Dasmariñas, the President of Courage.
To the guests of Honorable Arlene Brosas of the Gabriela Party List, welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to acknowledge the guests of Honorable Josefina B. Talyado, 1st District Representative of Camarines Norte. They are the barangay captains in the municipality of Labo, Camarines Norte. Honorable Manuel E. Banning, Honorable Eduardo de los Angeles, Honorable Rodel Bailon, Honorable Ariel B. Bonum, Honorable Rebecca Canaria, Honorable Antonio Garcia, Honorable Darwin Idanan, Honorable Roderick Magana, Honorable Rex M. Albos, Honorable Almira Villaflores, Honorable Nora Sahol, and Honorable Sonia Rala, Mr. Speaker.
To the guests of Honorable Josefina Talyado of the 1st District of Camarines Norte, welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, today being a Monday and with accordance to our rules, I move that we open the privilege hour.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the Chair declares the privilege hour. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize Representative June A. Asidre of Tingog Party List for his privilege speech.
The Honorable Jude Asidre of the Tingog Party List is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, my esteemed colleagues, today I stand before you not just as representative of Tingog Party List, but as the voice of a region now crippled, a community now suffering, and a people now calling for action. The closure of the San Juanico Bridge is not merely a regional inconvenience. It is a national failure that exposes the fragility of our infrastructure system and the negligence of those entrusted with safeguarding them. And it could have been prevented. On May 8, the Department of Public Works and Highways issued a public advisory effectively banning trucks and buses exceeding 3 metric tons from crossing the San Juanico Bridge. This decision was based on a structural integrity assessment that, while necessary, came far too late. Let's call this for what it is, a breakdown in preparedness. The San Juanico Bridge is more than just a structure of concrete and steel. It is more than an engineering marvel, nor it is just a scenic route tourists love to photograph. It is the beating heart of Eastern Visayas. It connects Leyte and Samar, two island economies, entirely reliant on this singular link. It is a vital artery of the Pan-Philippine Highway, our country's backbone for land-based movement of goods, services, and people. Every day, thousands of vehicles, including around 1,400 heavy trucks, traverse this bridge, each one carrying life, livelihood, and hope. And when you cut that link, Without warning or preparation, everything else breaks down. Overnight, we saw the movement of goods grind to a halt and supply chains disrupted. Truckloads of farm produce from Samar and Mindanao could no longer make it to Tacloban or to the major markets in Luzon. Construction materials were stranded. Hardware supplies delayed. Even medicines couldn't be delivered on time. This is more than a mere logistical nightmare. It is a crisis of foresight, of preparedness, of leadership. And who feels it the most? It's the ordinary Filipino who bears the brunt of this failure. It's the small farmer whose perishable crops are rotting on the side of the road because they don't have access to adequate storage facilities. It's the sari-sari store owner who suddenly has to raise prices because transport costs doubled. It's the patient waiting for medicine stuck on a truck. It's the mother worried sick that milk and diapers might not arrive on time. What is worse, Mr. Speaker, is that this could have been avoided. The San Juanico Bridge did not age overnight. Its structural problems were not a surprise. Yet DPWH waited for the results of a consultant study before taking any real action, and by then it was too late. There were no contingency measures in place, no alternative routes ready, no emergency logistics plan. This is negligence, plain and simple, and it is unacceptable. We all know that the San Juanico Bridge is over 50 years old. It's no surprise to anyone. We all know that time, weather, and overloading have taken their toll on the structure. But what did DPWH do to prepare? They waited. They didn't plan. They didn't coordinate ahead with local governments or the private sector. They failed to engage the region before dropping a decision that would paralyze its economy. When the advisory came, it came like a lightning bolt. Businesses were caught off guard. Local government units were left scrambling. National agencies had no ready roadmap for rerouting, for regulating traffic, for handling freight, or even for keeping stranded travelers safe. Mr. Speaker, let me be clear. The people of Eastern Visayas are not angry because the bridge is being repaired. We welcome this rehabilitation. What we cannot accept is the insensitivity, the utter disregard of those entrusted to plan this repair. Last May 17, we sat down with the representatives of the concerned agencies. While I commend those who showed up, listened, and committed to act, the truth was also painfully clear. Most agencies were reacting, not leading. Maritime alternatives were still being studied. Port readiness is still lagging. No clear timeline in place. We have yet to place a system for price control, and stranded truck drivers were for hours, times days, with no compensation for lost time. This cannot stand. This must not stand. We need all hands on deck, and we need them now. Government agencies must work together, not in silos, not in press releases, but in action. They need to set up interim transport solutions, fast-track permits, manage port congestion, prevent overpricing, provide basic support to stranded motorists, and ensure that our medical and food supply chains don't collapse. And DPWH must answer, not just with updates, but with accountability. Where were the warning systems? Where were the contingency protocols? Why was there no engagement with regional stakeholders months ago? It is infuriating that we are made to feel like we are an afterthought when in fact Eastern Visayas have long been a reliable partner in national development. Our local government units did not wait. The provincial government of Samar, under the leadership of Governor Sharian Tan, quickly convinced stakeholders. The Executive Committee of the Regional Development Council, under the chairmanship of Mayor Lucy Torres, immediately called for an emergency meeting. They offered ideas, they took initiative, they moved because waiting was not an option. And Mr. Speaker, our business community rose to the challenge. The Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Tacloban Leyte, the Tacloban Filipino-Chinese Chamber of Commerce, the Constructors Association, the Drugstores Association, and others who did not only raise the alarm, but also roll their sleeves to help craft solutions. Mr. Speaker, this is why Tingog Party List filed a bill declaring the Maharlika Highway as our national food highway. Because roads like this one are not just infrastructure, they are lifelines. They are critical to food security, health delivery, and economic movement. They are the arteries that pump life to our nation, connecting our regions and sustaining our communities. And today, with a few days left in our calendar, I am filing a resolution calling for a congressional inquiry into the current state of the San Juanico Bridge and the actions or inaction of DPWH and other agencies. But I know resolutions alone won't solve this. What is needed now is a decisive, coordinated action. Concrete, immediate interventions on the ground, not delays, not deferrals, to stop this crisis from spiraling into a broader economic and social catastrophe. We're facing escalating freight costs, longer transit times, looming economic slowdown, reduced investor confidence, and potential ripple effects on food security and health logistics nationwide. This demands an urgent, no excuses, economic mitigation plan, one that recognizes the severity of the situation and responds with the urgency reserved for natural disasters. Structural repairs must be matched by aggressive, well-sourced economic support. Policies must be aligned, emergency funds disbursed, and those responsible for delivery held to account immediately and without compromise. Because this is not just an Eastern Visayas crisis. This is a national systems failure in plain sight. And if we do not fix it now, we are guaranteeing that it will happen again somewhere else with even higher stakes. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, we must act now, immediately, no delays, no deferrals. Mobilize every agency, deploy the necessary resources, cut through bureaucratic inertia, and get boots on the ground without delay. This is a national emergency that demands utmost urgency, complete accountability, and steadfast commitment from every level of government and all sectors of society, because the lives of our people and the stability of our economy now hang in the balance. Let this crisis be our turning point. Let this be the time when we rise up to the challenge as one nation driven by purpose. Let us prove when crisis strikes, we do not hesitate. We stand together, we act together, and do whatever it takes to safeguard our fellow Filipinos and secure our nation's future. Mr. Speaker, the people of Eastern Visayas is calling out for help. Let us answer their call. Let us act decisively. let us lead with conviction. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Honorable Asidre. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Janet Garin for her manifestation.
The Honorable Janet Green is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader. Thank you, distinguished colleagues. Mr. Speaker, I laud the courage of the Honorable Jude Asidre in standing up and being the voice of millions of Leiteños and Samareños who are now left at the peril of this situation. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, ako po ay lumaki na tumatalon-talon sa San Juanico Bridge not because it's an icon that stands between the islands of Samar and Leyte, but moreover because it is a symbol of how the former president and the former First Lady, President Marcos, Ferdinand Marcos, and our First Lady, Imelda Marcos, paved way for a legacy project that will not only be a symbol of uniting Leyte and Samar, but more importantly, bringing forth economic activity between these two vast islands. Sa napakatagal nga panahon, Mr. Speaker, ito po ang naging simbolo ng trade, ekonomiya, kung saan yung mga produkto ng Samar ay nadadala sa Leyte at kung saan naman yung mga produkto ng Leyte ay napupunta ng Samar. Andun yung ating banig, andun yung ating maraming pagkain, andun yung napakasarap na pili. But it's not only that, Mr. Speaker. Tingnan po natin ang naging simbolo ng edukasyon where education became, and I'm referring to university education, became more affordable for Leiteños and Samareños because of the bridge connecting them. Andun yung provision of healthcare services. There is trade, there is movement, there is life, Mr. Speaker. And this is a problem that could have been preempted had our respective officials been wary of serving the people, hearing the people, preempting the problems of our people, and contributing to what our people needs. It's not a mere want, it's a need. Kaya po ako ay nagagalak nung tumayo si Congressman Jude Asidre. Dahil kaakibat ng pagtayo niya, it's not a mere privileged speech, but it's a call to accountability, a call to be responsible, and a call that if you want power, if you want to be called a Filipino government official, then you must serve commensurate to what is expected. Ang biglaang pagsara ng tulay na ito ay kaakibat sa pagsara ng karamihan ng oportunidad ng ating mga kababayan. Magkakaroon ng mahirap na adjustment. And now, our government has no choice but to cater to this. Kaya, Mr. Speaker, sa pagbukas ng bagong Kongreso, sana matuldukan bakit, paano, at bakit pinabayaan ito ng matagal. But above that, what will we be doing? Ano po ang serbisyo na may bibigay natin? Paano natin maiibsan ang hirap ng ating mga kababayan sa Samar at paano natin ipagpapatuloy ang serbisyo? But with that, Mr. Speaker, I still believe that Filipinos as we are, we will always unite in the face of grave problems. Again, my kudos to Congressman Jude Asidre, and I look forward that the leadership of this Congress will look into ways and aspects where every Filipino citizen will be heard and every Filipino family will be served. Maraming salamat po, and I join the Honorable Asidre in his call for an investigation on this matter.
Thank you, Honorable Garin, for your manifestation. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, for another manifestation, I move that we recognize the Honorable Richard Gomez.
Honorable Richard Gomez is recognized.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker. Hearing the privileged speech of Congressman Jude Isidre, I was once a part of the RDC 8 when I was mayor of Ormoc City. And on a yearly basis, all the problems na kinakailangan natin na ponduhan kung mayroong problema, ito ay laging tinitake up sa RDC. So yung mga regional offices, kung anong kailangan nila, inire-report po yun. I just feel bad that parang pinagbibintangan natin dito ngayon na meron neglect ang DPWH. Because in the last RDC, Mr. Speaker, it was brought up that every year, DPWH will report kung ano yung kailangan ayusin sa atin. And also, andun lagi ang San Juanico Bridge. It is in the RDC report, if we will take a look at it, Mr. Speaker. So in this investigation that you want to happen, I don't know kung matutuloy pa to this coming week or pagpasok na natin ng 20th Congress, they will tell you na every year, never sila nagka-remiss sa pag-report, sa pagsabi na ang San Juanico Bridge, kinakailangan ng i-retrofit, kailangan ng repair, kailangan ng annual maintenance. Siguro, maganda rin, Mr. Speaker, tignan natin yung sarili natin dito sa Kongreso. Bakit hindi natin napondohan yung nire-request nila? Why I'm speaking here today is because yung problema ng San Juanico, that is 110 kilometers away from Ormoc City, nararamdaman din namin yan. Ngayon lang kami nagkakaroon ng pila ng truck sa loob ng Ormoc City. And when they stay in Ormoc City, we don't have ready restrooms for them. Saan sila nagdudumi? Sa tabi-tabi. It is also affecting the health and cleanliness of our city in Ormoc. So in this coming investigation, Congressman Isidre, please take note that the RDC report, every year, merong nire-report na merong pangangailangan ang DPWH with regards to maintenance, repair, and annual checkup of the San Juanico Bridge.
Honorable Gomez, is that manifestation or a...
It is a manifestation, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Isidre.
Mr. Speaker, I just would like to qualify the position of this representation. We have no arguments, and we agree that for the longest time we have been asking funding, even not only for the repair of the San Juanico Bridge, but including the construction of a second San Juanico Bridge, considering that we have already seen the wear and tear and the life of the structure itself. However, the position of this representation with regards to the privilege speech is about having to impose the restriction, the load restriction, the San Juanico Bridge, without prior preparation and without prior notice to the concerned stakeholders. For the record, as I mentioned in my privilege speech, we are not against the rehabilitation. In fact, we welcome it. In fact, for the longest time, we've been asking for it. But the problem with the current situation is that the announcement was made on the same day the restriction took effect. And in that case, as the honorable colleague from Ormoc has mentioned, Congressman Gomez has mentioned, not everyone is ready to address the consequences with the changes in terms of alternative maritime routes, in terms of the adjustment in the traffic, and even, as mentioned earlier, even the sanitation and the other services needed for the truckers. I think it's important to qualify that our concern stems from this. Because as mentioned earlier by the Honorable Garin, this is a matter that did not happen overnight. This is something that could have been avoided. Preparations could have been made earlier. The moment DPWDH felt that they needed to take in a consultant to make an structural integrity assessment of the bridge, should have started the need to draw contingency plans. It should have already beckoned DPWH to consider the worst scenario so that in case a situation would have been recommended that would warrant the restrictions on the bridge, then there would be a minimal disruption to the movements of goods and peoples as well as services from the islands of Leyte to Samar. We are one with the Honorable Gomez in saying that this has been a long concern of the region, having been part also of the Advisory Council of the Regional Development Council of the region. We've worked also closely in recommending funding for the second San Juanico Bridge. There is no question about that. Our concern for this matter is that this situation where we find ourselves in, wherein there was little or there was not inadequate preparation given prior to the closure or the imposition of load restrictions on the San Juanico Bridge, could have been done better. And it's important that we put this in mind because it could happen somewhere else under similar, even worse circumstances. So it's important that before such decisions of such magnitude are taken, there could have been proper coordination with the different stakeholders.
Mr. Speaker, as part of last part of my manifestation, I would like to add, Mr. Speaker, kung pwede, kung matutuloy ang investigation natin, we will have to ask the committee secretary to please prepare all the requests of DPWH with regards to San Juanico at the start of 19th Congress. Because as reported, every year, every budget year, nire-request nila yon. Baka kung sakaling hindi na ibigay yun, baka tayo yung nag-remiss. Baka nakalimutan lang natin. Baka hindi natin nakita na talagang kailangan palang ponduhan ang pagpapaayos ng San Juanico Bridge, Mr. Speaker. So, part of his resolution, we ask that all records of requests coming from DPWH, ilabas po natin. Thank you.
Noted. Thank you, Honorable Gomez.
Sidre.
Thank you, Honorable Sidre. Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the privileged speech of the Honorable Jude Asidre and the manifestations to the Committee on Rules.
Any objection? Hearing none, the speech of Honorable Jude Asidre, including the manifestations of Honorable Gomez and Honorable Garin, is referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Rolando M. Valeriano of the 2nd District of Manila for his privileged speech.
The Honorable Rolando Valeriano of the 2nd District of Manila is recognized.
Salamat po, Mr. Speaker. The May Haligi demolition is a wake-up call for legislative reform. Mr. Speaker, mga kapwa ko mambabatas, mga nanonood sa kanilang tahanan, magandang hapon po. Ako po ay tumitindig ngayon, hindi lamang bilang kinatawan ng lungsod ng Maynila, kundi bilang tinig ng milyon-milyong maralitang tagalungsod sa buong bansa. Mga pamilyang araw-araw ay nasa bingit ng demolisyon at kawalang katarungan. Nitong Lunes, Mayo 26, isang tensyonado at magulong eksena ang naganap sa Barangay 262 at Barangay 264 sa May Haligi, Tondo, Maynila. Daan-daang kapwa ko Manileño ang hinarap ang mga demolition team at kapulisan. Hindi dahil gusto nila ng gulo, kundi dahil ipinaglalaban lang nila ang tanging tahanang kinalakihan nila. Isasama ko na din po ang isa pang barangay na dumadanas din ng ganitong pangyayari, ang Barangay 227, District 2, Manila. Ayon sa mga ulat, sinagawa ang demolisyon alinsunod daw sa isang court order. Pero ang tanong, totoo bang dumaan ito sa tamang proseso? Una, walang malinaw na notice na ibinigay sa mga residente. Pangalawa, walang sapat na relokasyon o makataong alternatibo para sa may 400 pamilyang may halos 70 taon nang nakatira sa may haligi. Pangatlo, walang clearance ito mula sa Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor or PICOP, gaya ng itinagubilin sa Republic Act 7279 o ang Urban Development and Housing Act at Executive Order 152 Series of 2002. Pang-apat, sangkatutak na pulis na akala mo may gera ang nag-responde dito with full battle gear. At dahil dito, naglabas ng temporary restraining order ang korte noong Mayo 27. Isang matibay na patunay na talagang may pagkukulang sa proseso. Mr. Speaker, inihiling ko sa kapulungang ito ang pagsasagawa ng congressional inquiry sa pangyayaring ito. Hindi lang ito issue ng may haligi tondo. Ito ay usapin ng batas, hustisya at karapatang pantao. Marami pa pong ibang kaso ng demolisyon na katulad nito sa iba't ibang panig ng bansa. Kasama na rin dyan ang mga problema sa relokasyon ng mga pamilyang apektado ng mga flood control projects. Higit pa rito, nananawagan ako ng moratorium sa demolisyon sa may haligi at sa Barangay 227 habang hindi pa nabubusisi at naamyendahan ang mga batas ukol sa demolisyon at relokasyon. Hindi pwedeng tuloy-tuloy ang pagwasak sa mga tahanan ng mga maralita habang butas-butas ang sistema. Mr. Speaker, mga kasama, may mas malalim pa pong issue rito. Matagal nang walang nagkaka-interes sa lupaing ito, kaya pinamahayan ito ng mga maralitang tagalungsod simula noong 1950s. Pero kamakailan lamang, ito'y biglaang naibenta sa isang kumpanyang tinatawag na 2288 Eaton Realty Corporation. Paano ito naibenta ng ganon kabilis? May transparency ba? Legal ba ang transaksyon? Ang masakit pa, habang may mga ganito pang gusot, mabilis nang kumilos ang mga goons para sa demolition na para bang minamadaling maihabol bago mag-June 30. Ang modus ng mga ganyang klaseng kumpanya ay matagal nang umiiral. Maghahanap ng mga lupang may informal settlers, bibilhin ang mga lupang may informal settlers ng murang-mura. Maghahain ng kaso para mapaalis ang mga maralita. Kapag na-demolish na, ibebenta sa mas mataas na halaga. Massive profit at the expense of the poor. Mr. Speaker, kailangan pong kagyat na imbestigahan ng Kongreso ang nangyaring tangkang demolisyon sa may haligi Tondo at sa Barangay 227. Ito po ang tungkulin natin bilang mga mambabatas ang maging sandigan ng mga naaapi. Hindi po ito usapin ng pagtutulak na basta-basta na lamang sasakupin ang lupa ng iba. Ang inihiling natin ngayon ay social justice at due process. Dapat balansin ang karapatan ng may-ari ng lupa at ang kapakanan ng mga maralitang taglungsod na matagal nang naninirahan sa mga lugar na ganito. May mga pamilya po sa may haligi na mahigit 70 years nang naroon, ilang henerasyon na po ang lumipas. Hindi natin pwedeng tratuhin na parang basura lang ang buhay at pangarap nila. May mga umiiral na batas para tiyaking makatao at patas ang proseso ng relokasyon. Ang problema, klarong hindi nasunod ang mga batas na iyon sa kasong ito. Mr. Speaker, dito din po tumayo si Vice President Sara Duterte para siraan ang inyong lingkod. At pagkatapos ng eleksyon, demolisyon. Mga kapwa ko mambabatas, hindi ito usapin ng isa o dalawang barangay lang. Ito po ay panawagan sa Kongresong paninindigan ng batas para sa mga walang boses na protektahan ang mga dukha laban sa abusadong makapangyarihan at tiyaking ang ating mga batas ay tunay na para sa taong bayan, hindi lang para sa mga mapepera at may koneksyon. Patunayan natin dito sa House of Representatives na posibleng makamit ang social justice, na posibleng kilalanin ang karapatan ng mga may-ari ng lupa habang kasabay na itinataguyod ang kapakanan ng mga maralitang tagalungsod na napagkaitan ng pagkakataon sa buhay. Mga kasama, mga kababayan, pagtulong-tulungan nating kumpunihin ang sirang sistema. At bago po ako magtapos, uulitin ko, dito po sa lugar ng may haligi, tumayo si Vice President Sara Duterte para ako laitin at siraan habang ang mga kandidato na kasama niya ay nagtatawanan at marahil ay naging dahilan para ako ay makabalik at mahalal muli. Salamat po.
Thank you, Honorable Valeriano. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Valeriano to the Committee on Rules.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the speech of Honorable Valeriano is referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that we recognize the Honorable Representative Arlene D. Brosas of Gabriela Party List for her privilege speech.
The Honorable Arlene Brosas of the Gabriela Party List is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, mga kapwa kinatawan sa kapulungang ito, sa mga kababaihan at manggagawang Pilipino, at sa lahat ng mga nakikinig, nakikiisa at naririto sa ating sesyon sa plenaryo, isang palabang pagbati. Sa muling pagbubukas ng ating regular na session sa Kongreso, allow me to stand at this podium and speak about one of the most important issues that we think must be met with utmost urgency: the long overdue demand of Filipino workers for a legislated wage increase to meet the living wage. We are a nation kept alive by those who tirelessly toil, by those we consider as the backbone of our economy, and our daily encounters with them attest to this. Mr. Speaker, even the session hall was built brick by our construction workers. Yet our construction workers are paid only 14,199 pesos on an average per month, or roughly just 590 pesos per day, despite the back-breaking work. Bitin na bitin ito sa 1,200 pesos na nakabubuhay na sahod na kailangan ng isang pamilyang Pilipino. The meager average daily minimum wage in the Philippines merely amounts to 470 pesos, where the highest daily minimum wage set at 645 pesos for workers within the NCR is still far from the target family living wage. Mr. Speaker, ngayon nga'y nasa bingit pa ng pagkabitin ang panukalang 200 pesos na dagdag sahod dahil iilang araw na lang ang natitira bago tuluyang magsara ang 19th Congress. The last time a legislated wage hike was granted was in 1989. That was already 36 years ago. Mahigit tatlong dekada na, Mr. Speaker. In 2007, a 125 peso wage increase that was likewise actively sought and fought for by workers since the 2000s almost made its way to Malacanang, but was later on delayed and derailed, therefore eventually failing to materialize. Under the current administration, dadalawang barya-baryang taas sahod pa lamang ang naipatutupad ni hindi nga ito ramdam ng pangkaraniwang mamamayan dahil sa patong-patong at napakamahal na presyo ng mga bilihin at bayarin. And now that we are presented with the rare opportunity to significantly raise our workers' wages, hiling nating hindi na tayo bitinin at tipirin pa. The 1,200 peso computed family living wage, according to the Ibon Foundation, takes into consideration the skyrocketing cost of goods and services amidst high inflation rate. Matatandaang ibinungad sa atin sa unang mga linggo pa lamang ng taon ang pagtaas ng presyo ng pagkain at iba pang batayang bilihin. At gayon din ang nakalululang singil sa tubig, kuryente, langis, transportasyon at iba pang batayang utilidad at serbisyo. Pinalalala ito ng pagpapataw ng patong-patong na buwis sa mga consumer, VAT sa basic goods and services, excise tax sa langis, dagdag pa riyan ang mas mataas na mandatory contributions at state exactions gaya ng SSS, Pag-ibig at PhilHealth na kinakaltas sa kakarampot na take-home pay ng mga manggagawa. Ang resulta, malawakang kahirapan at kagutuman. In a 2024 SWS survey, nakapagtala ng 63% self-rated poverty, pinakamataas sa nakalipas na 21 years. Dumoble rin ang involuntary hunger sa ilalim ng Administrasyong Marcos mula 11.6% o 2.9 pamilyang Pilipino noong June 2022, tungong 27.2% or 7.5 million pamilyang Pilipino ngayong Marso 2025. Ibon interpreted this widespread poverty and hunger as a consequence of the low wages and high prices in the country that barely allow ordinary Filipino people to put food on the table or live a decent and livable life. Mr. Speaker, it is enshrined in Section 3, Article 13 of our Constitution that our workers shall be entitled to security of tenure, humane conditions of work, and a living wage. The National Wages and Productivity Commission, NWPC, comprehensively defines such living wage as the amount of family income needed to provide for the family's food and non-food expenditures, with sufficient allowance for savings, investments for social security, so as to enable the family to live and maintain a decent standard of human existence beyond mere subsistence level, taking into account all of the family's physiological, social, and other needs. Sa madaling sabi, nakabubuhay na sahod na tutugon sa pangkalahatang pangangailangan ng mga Pilipino at kani-kanilang pamilya. Kaya naman, sa konteksto ng malawakang kahirapan at kagutuman, kasabay ng nagtataas ang presyo ng mga bilihin at privatisasyon ng mga serbisyo at utilidad, nararapat lamang na iangat ang sahod ng mga manggagawa. Subalit, sa halip na agarang ipatupad ito, higit na hinihila pababa ang halaga ng sahod sa bansa sa pamamagitan ng wage deregulation, pagwasak sa pambansang minimum wage para palitan ng iskemang wage regionalization at pagpapatindi ng fleksibilisasyon sa paggawa ng isang forma ay kontraktualisasyon. Humahati pa ang mga manpower agencies at service contractors sa kakarampot na sahod ng mga kontraktual na manggagawa sa pamamagitan ng mga hindi deklaradong kaltas at agency fees. habang tuwiran silang pinagkakaitan ng mga benepisyo sa ilalim ng eskemang ito. The largest number of contractual workers in the country is in the wholesale and retail trade, manufacturing, accommodation, food, and service sectors. And in all of this, women account for almost 4 in every 10 workers in job order or contractual arrangements. Ang itsura nito sa aktwal ay milyon-milyong mga manggagawang pinagkakaitan ng karampatang proteksyon at suporta. Taliwas sa mandato ng Estado na protektahan at suportahan ang mga manggagawa at empleyado. At the same time, the number of informal workers this year remains high at 19.8 million, where 13.4 million of which are self-employed. 3.2 million work in family farms or businesses without pay, and majority of them are women, and 2 million work within private households. Ang ganitong paglobo ng impormal na sektor ay sintomas lamang ng malawakang kakulangan ng disenteng trabaho sa bansa, bunsod ng lugmok na lokal na agrikultura at industriya. Kinakaharap din ng mga manggagawa ang kawalan ng katiyakan at kaligtasan sa trabaho. In the recent years alone, we've witnessed widespread mass layoffs that devastated our workers. Mula 2020 hanggang 2024, nakapagtala ang Center for Women's Resources ng kabi-kabilang tanggalan ng trabaho sa garments, electronics, BPO, manufacturing, at service sectors. Ang iba ay basta na lamang inilalagay sa floating status nang walang kasiguraduhan kung kailan makakabalik sa trabaho at muling makakatanggap ng sahod. All in all, as per the recent labor force survey, the number of employed Filipinos substantially dropped by 1.2 million from 49.2 million in March 2024 to only 48 million in March 2025. At bagaman makatwiran lamang ang umalma sa hindi makataong kondisyon sa mga pagawaan, marahas ang Estado pagdating sa mga manggagawang sama-samang tumitindig para sa kanilang mga karapatan. Union and labor repression still persists in this country, and this ranges from widespread and systematic red tagging, surveillance, filing of trumped-up charges, threat and intimidation, harassment, up to deliberate killings of labor activists. As a result, unionized workers significantly declined from 6.3% of Filipino workers in 2018 to only 4.5% in 2022. In these figures, women's participation still fared lower than that of men. Mr. Speaker, barat, bitin at hindi nakabubuhay ang sahod ng mga manggagawang Pilipino. Papalagpasin pa ba natin ang pagkakataong magpasa ng batas para matamasa nila ang nararapat na dagdag sahod? As early as the start of the 19th Congress, this representation filed 2 key pieces of legislation concerning workers' wages: the proposed national minimum wage and 750 pesos across the board wage increase for workers from the private sector. Ipinapanukala ng mga polisiyang ito ang pagkakaroon ng 1,200 national minimum wage that would in effect abolish the regional wage boards. Nasaksihan nating magmula ng maipatupad ang Wage Regionalization Act, barya-barya lamang ang pinagkakaloob nitong aumento sa sahod habang dama naman sa bawat sulok ng bansa ang pagtaas ng presyo ng mga bilihin at serbisyo. This has also created 2 fragmented wage levels, allowing corporations and companies to peg lower minimum wages. 750 pesos naman ang bitbit nating halaga ng across-the-board wage increase para sa mga manggagawa ng pribadong sektor. This amount was not pulled out of thin air, as it represents the average gap between existing regional minimum wages and the computed 1,200 pesos family living wage. That would satisfy the food and non-food necessities of Filipino families. Early this year, the Committee on Labor and Employment approved the consolidated 200 pesos across-the-board wage hike bill. Malayo man ito sa minimithi nating 750 pesos across-the-board wage increase na magtutulay sana sa kasalukuyang halaga ng sahod patungong 1,200 pesos family living wage. Kinikilala ng representasyong ito ang kahalagahan ng agarang pagpapataas sa sahod ng mga manggagawang sadsad sa kahirapan. Maituturing pa rin itong positibong hakbang tungo sa pagtataas ng kalidad ng buhay ng mga manggagawa at pagbibigay sa kanila ng kaunting alwan sa harap ng malawakang krisis sa ekonomiya. Since it was passed at the committee level, hindi nasundan pa ng agarang aksyon at pag-uusap para itulak ang panukalang batas. Marahil ay senyales ito ng pagsasantabi at pagsasawalang bahala sa kalagayan ng mga manggagawang araw-araw pinapatay ng kahirapan at kagutuman. They cannot afford any more delays in attaining their right to a living wage. At the same time, this might also be indicative of the surrounding arguments that go against a substantial wage increase. Surfacing the same rhetoric of wage increases are inflationary or that it would burden micro, small, and medium enterprises. Various economists have already claimed this to be false. On the contrary, increasing wages has a strong economic multiplier effect. For one, low-income wage workers tend to spend most of what they earn because they are starting from low levels of consumption, as opposed to profits which are often saved and accumulated. Second, wage increases will be spent locally and on MSMEs, including informal enterprises in their communities, thus spurring local economic activity which helps small businesses and induces job generation. Third, low-income families spend around 48% of their income on food, meaning increased spending on food will stimulate demand and economic activity in the countryside and across the country. Meanwhile, as we recognize the impact of mandating wage increases on MSMEs, which is exactly why the government should step in and provide wage subsidies to ensure that their workers receive fair wages while ensuring the survival of their businesses, we have to counter the arguments that pit ordinary workers and small business owners against each other. The real issue and injustice here is that much of the wealth we incur from increased labor productivity throughout the years has not resulted in higher wages nor stronger local industries, but instead translated to thicker and thicker profits for big businesses and corporations, thus further widening inequality and concentrating wealth to a few. Kaya sa napakaikling panahong natitira sa kasalukuyang Kongreso, ang sigaw ng mga manggagawa, 200 pesos across the board wage hike bill, isabatas na, Pangulong Marcos i-certify as urgent and legislated wage increase, sahod itaas pa patungong nakasasapat at nakabubuhay na antas. As I close this speech, I would like to recognize the workers, organizers, and trade union leaders who graced us with their presence and resoluteness in raising these calls at our session today. Jerome Adonis, Secretary General, Kilusang Mayo 1, former Representative Ariel Casilaw, Chairperson, Union ng Manggagawa sa Agrikultura, Charlito Arevalo, spokesperson, Unity for Wage Increase Network. Jacqueline Ruiz, spokesperson, Kilusan ng Manggagawang Kababaihan. Julius Carandang, Secretary, Metal Workers Alliance of the Philippines. Julie Ann Gutierrez, spokesperson, Kilos na Manggagawa. Mary Ann Castillo, President, Nexperia Workers Union. Ivan Ilagan, Second Vice President, Gabay ng Union sa Telekomunikasyon ng mga Supervisor, Goods PLDT. Maylene Cabalona, National President, BPO, Industry Employees Network, BIEN Philippines. Manuel Baclagon, Secretary General, Courage. Santiago Dasmariñas, President, Courage. Eufemia Doringo, Secretary General Kalipunan ng Damayang Mahihirap o Kadamay, Robert Mendoza, former National President, Alliance of Health Workers, Maylene Chanco, National Treasurer, Alliance of Health Workers. Sila ang ilan sa mga pangunahin at buhay na bumibit-bit ng panawagang itaas ang sahod ng mga manggagawa sa antas na nakasasapat at nakabubuhay. Patunay ang kanilang presensya sa plenaryong ito na ang ating mga panukalat panawagan ay hindi lamang panukalat panawagan, kundi aktwal na kahingiang itinutulak ng laksa-laksang manggagawang naghahangad ng mas maalwang buhay at bukas. Ilang dekada na nila itong kinakampanya sa mga pabrika, empresa, pagawaan, komunidad at lansangan. At patuloy nila itong titindigan at ipaglalaban sa loob o labas man ng Kongreso. Let the calls of our workers linger and reverberate inside this session hall. As legislators, we must consider the proposals of our workers on matters concerning their rights as this come from their concrete situations. Our workers deserve this and so much more. Sa napakahabang panahon, sila ang bumubuhay sa ating bansa. Hayaan naman nating silang mabuhay ng ligtas, may dignidad at natatamasa ang kanilang mga pangangailangan at karapatan. Sahod itaas at mabuhay ang mga manggagawa. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Brosas. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Arlene D. Brosas to the Committee on Rules.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the speech of Honorable Brosas is referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that we recognize the Honorable Representative Sergio C. Dagook of APEC Party List.
Honorable Sergio Dagook of the APEC Party List is recognized.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speakers, esteemed members of this August Chamber, to all my fellow Filipinos, isang magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Mr. Speaker, today I take the floor on a matter of privilege, defending rural electrification, vehemently opposing the calls for privatization of electric cooperatives. This subject matter bears significant implications for the millions of Filipinos who continues to rely on electric cooperatives for access to reliable and affordable electricity, particularly in far-flung and rural areas. As a brief backgrounder, Mr. Speaker, electric cooperatives were established under Republic Act number 6038 in 1969. Para po sa kaalaman ng lahat, kaya po ito ay ipanukala ni dating Vice Presidente Emmanuel Pelaez dahil po kahit Vice Presidente na siya, nagiging senador, ang lugar nila ay walang ilaw. Malapit lang sila sa Cagayan de Oro City, yung Medina, Municipality of Medina. Pero ang may ilaw lang noong mga panahon na yon, Cagayan de Oro City, Manila City, Cebu City, Iloilo City, at yung mga iba pang malalaking siyudad sa Mindanao, kagaya ng Davao. Siyam lang po na siyudad ang may ilaw noong mga panahon na yon. Bakit? Dahil ang mga pribado na nagsasabi ngayon na i-take over nila ang mga electric cooperatives ay ayaw puntahan ang mga lugar na yon dahil hindi sila kikita. Kaya ipanukala to ni dating Vice Presidente at Senador Emmanuel Pelaez noong 1969. Ano po yung Republic Act 6038? It is an act declaring a national policy of total electrification of the countryside creating the National Electrification Administration mandated to organize electric cooperatives that will serve the rural areas on an area coverage basis. Doon po nag-umpisa yun. Those law has been amended during martial law by Presidential Decreto 69 and further amended in 1973 by PD 1645 and finally amended in 2013 by Republic Act 10531 in order to carry out the national policy of total electrification of the Philippines. Under those laws, electric cooperatives were created as a vehicle of the government in implementing its long-term program of providing the people of the country access to electricity, not only to light homes, but to promote rural development. Bakit po kailangan ang rural development? Dahil po, para hindi tayo magkumpul-kumpul dito sa highly urbanized centers. Kasi kung wala pong economic development in the rural areas, pupunta po tayong lahat sa Manila, sa Cebu, para maghanap ng trabaho. That's why the vision of these laws is to create economic development by energizing the rural areas. They were created not for profit, but to serve communities in far-flung and underserved and economically non-viable areas that were for decades beyond the reach of private utilities. Yung mga private utilities na nagsasabi na mas magaling sila kaysa electric cooperative. Today, these cooperatives are the one responsible until now for energizing millions of Filipino households across our archipelago, forming the backbone of the country's rural electrification program. Sa kabila ng kakulangan ng pondo, year in, year out, dito sa Kongreso at sa iba-iba pang hamon sa mga electric cooperatives, through the decades, these electric cooperatives help light homes, power livelihoods, and bridge development gap between urban and rural communities. Their stories, Mr. Speaker, is not one of perfection, but of perseverance. And yet, Mr. Speaker, despite this legacy, it is sad to note that we are now seeing narratives that calls for the wholesale privatization of electric cooperatives. These narratives paints a one-sided picture that electric cooperatives are inherently mismanaged, inefficient, or incapable of modernizing themselves. Mr. Speaker, this oversimplified and misleading line of thinking cannot go unchallenged by this representation because it ignores history. It overlooks decades of community-driven effort, and most crucially, it endangers the very people whom the rural electrification program was built to serve. While we recognize that governance challenge exists in some, Mr. Speaker, I would like to emphasize only some few electric cooperatives. These challenges with the national electrification and the electric cooperatives themselves are actively addressing. It is inaccurate, even dangerous, to generalize that these issues endangers the total electrification of the countryside. Kasi hindi naman pinupuntahan ng pribado yung mga unviable areas na ating sineserve. Yes, some cooperatives face internal governance issues. Hindi po natin ito itinanggi, Mr. Speaker. But to use these isolated cases as ammunition to discredit the entire sector and label all cooperatives as failure is not only unjust, it is intellectually dishonest, deliberately misleading, and outright deceitful. In fact, Mr. Speaker, many electric cooperatives are well-performing, financially sound, even they are non-profit in nature, and committed to their mandate of providing reliable and affordable electricity to their member consumer owners. Deeply trusted by their member consumer owners, they were able to grow alongside their communities because the communities owned electric cooperatives. They knew the terrain, the needs, and the struggles of the people that they have served. Such sweeping generalization is dangerous, for they distort the truth and push the so-called solutions that conveniently align with the interest of the for-profit entities, oligarchs entities that are eager to take over areas that have become economically attractive after decades of government investment and cooperative service. Pinipili na po nila yung mga areas nakikita na sila ngayon. Pero nasaan sila nung panahon ng mga areas na to ay nasa kadiliman? Wala. Nandito lang sila sa Manila, Cebu, Davao, Iloilo, at Cagayan de Oro. Ngayon, na yung hindi nila nililingon noon ay economically viable na, tinatarget na nila at para na lang kindi na kanilang inaagaw sa bibig ng isang bata. Parang kindi na kinukuha sa mga electric cooperative using their influence. Now that these areas have grown and developed, private corporations suddenly want it. But instead of competing on fair terms, we are seeing a systematic undermining of the achievements of electric cooperatives and the rural electrification movement, such as repeated narratives of inefficiency to erode public trust, highlighting isolated cases of mismanagement while ignoring the vast majority of electric cooperatives that serves with integrity and reliance, and comparing power rates without context. Mr. Speaker, in fact, hindi ko maintindihan yung taripa ng Siargao Electric Cooperative na pinamumunuan ko ay more than 8 pesos lamang. Pero yung kanyang demand or yung kanyang load ay isang mall dito sa Meralco. Bakit ang Meralco 11 pesos, 12 pesos na napakalaki niya? 70% of the demand of entire country. Bakit Siargao napakaliit? Isang mall lang yung load. Bakit more than 8 pesos lang? There are more than 70 electric cooperatives na ang taripa niya ay mas mababa sa Meralco, Vico at Davao Light. Pero pinipilit nilang pakita sa tao na inefficient ang mga electric cooperative. Wala ngang vegetation, walang niyog, walang kahoy dito sa Metro Manila na kiniklearing. Kung magbagyo, hindi masisira ang linya dito dahil walang mga kahoy na matumba. Bakit mahal pa rin sila dito? Wala silang ginagastos. Kami kahit habagat, natutumba yung mga linya dahil mga puno ng niyog natutumba. Araw-araw nagkiklearing kami. That should be answered. Hindi yung mga bayaran ng mga taga-media na inuulit-ulit nila, pinipili nila yung mga electric cooperative na mismanage. Which are only few. Hindi, mabibilang nga lang sa daliri ko. Mr. Speaker, when private corporations decline to take the risk of investing in rural areas, it was the electric cooperatives through the National Electrification Administration that rose to the challenge, supported by their mandate. They laid down the lines, energized remote barangays until now, and brought light and opportunity to countless communities. That contribution cannot and must not be dismissed simply because these very same areas are now ripe for commercial gain. Tinatarget na nila dahil nakatayo na yung mga poste. To advocate for the blanket privatization of electric cooperatives is to disregard the social, historical, and developmental role they have played in our nation. And let us be honest, Mr. Speaker, private firms will only go where there is money to be made. Pag kabundukan at liblib na lugar ang pag-uusapan, hindi na sila interesado. The areas that electric cooperatives struggle to energize will once again be left behind if we abandon the cooperative model. Babalik tayo sa 1960s na walang ilaw itong mga lugar na to. Mr. Speaker, that is the truth of the matter. Rural areas will be left behind kung ipapasa natin ang responsibilidad sa mga pribadong sektor, ang mga malalayong lugar, maliliit ang konsumo at mahirap pasukin ay muli na namang mapag-iwanan. The real task before us is not privatization, but strategic reform. If the concern is performance, then let us help electric cooperatives improve through legislation if necessary. Where inefficiencies exist, we must support institutional strengthening through the National Electrification Administration. Where governance gaps are identified, we must call for transparency, accountability, and professionalization of the electric cooperative management. Nandyan naman po ang National Electrification Administration. Moreover, we must remember that electric cooperatives are not just utilities. Cooperatives are expressions of democratic participation. Their board of directors are elected and their decisions are made with community input. That is governance rooted in the people. Privatization strips this power away from the people. It shifts control from the community to corporate shareholders. Sila-sila na lang po ang pipili ng kanilang mga board of directors. Hindi na po yung mga tao ang mag-i-elect. And their priority, as well as we all know, will be return on investment and not social equity. Return on investment lang po ang kanilang tinitingnan. Mr. Speaker, we must not allow reductive narratives to erode decades of public service, nor let short-term interest override long-term national development goals. We should caution against embracing privatization as a magic solution. Hindi ito gamot sa lahat ng problema ng pagpapailaw. Yes, let us fix what must be fixed, but let us also protect what must be protected and preserved. Baka babangon po sa libing niya si dating Vice Presidente Manning Pilaes at pupuntahan tayo sa Kongreso, anong nangyari sa inyo? Kaya nga, pinasa ko yung batas na yan dahil walang ilaw kahit yung bayan namin na napakalapit sa Cagayan de Oro. At ngayon, gusto ninyong ibalik doon sa mga oligarch at ang kanila na namang pagpailawan ay yung mga siyudad lang, nakikita lang sila. To conclude, Mr. Speaker, I am respectfully appealing this honorable chamber, let us be discerning in our policy approaches. Let us champion reform without surrendering the principles of equity, inclusion, and community empowerment. Maraming salamat po. Magandang hapon ulit po sa ating lahat.
Thank you, Honorable Dagoc, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the privilege hour be extended for a few more gentlemen to avail of the privilege hour.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the privilege hour is extended for an hour. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I request that the gentleman from the 3rd District of Camarines Sur, the Honorable Gabriel Bordado Jr., be recognized for his to avail of the privilege hour.
But first, please move for the referral of the speech of Honorable Dagoc.
Sorry, I move to withdraw the motion, Mr. Speaker, and I move that we refer the
privileged speech of the Honorable Dagook to the committee, Your Honors. Committee on
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the speech of Honorable Sergio Dagook is referred to the Committee on Rules. Session suspended. Session resumes. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Gabriel Bordado Jr. to avail of the privilege hour.
The Honorable Gabriel Bordado of the 3rd District of Camarines Sur is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Floor Leader, and thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise today on a matter of profound national concern, one that strikes at the heart of our democratic institutions, the sanctity of public office, and the very credibility of our commitment to accountability and the rule of law. It is with deep unease that I express my strong objection to the decision of those related to economic recovery, health, and governance. Let us be clear. The pursuit of justice and accountability must never take a back seat. Mr. Speaker, are we to tell the Filipino people that impeachable offenses committed by the second highest official of the land are less urgent than our legislative targets? Is this delay not, in effect, a compromise of our solemn duty as public servants sworn to uphold the Constitution? Mr. Speaker, I did not sign the articles of impeachment lightly. I did so with the full weight of my responsibility as an assistant minority leader and as a representative of the people of the province of Camarines Sur. This is not a political vendetta. This is a principled stand for transparency, integrity, and the rule of law. Mr. Speaker, the Senate President had cited commitments made during the LEDAC meeting and the burden of over 200 pending presidential appointments. But I ask, when did convenience become a valid excuse to delay justice? When did we decide that institutional housekeeping is more important than institutional integrity? We cannot allow this delay to erode public trust. We cannot allow political expediency to blunt the sword of accountability. We must not forget that our allegiance is not to any political party or personality. It is to the people, to the Constitution, and to the truth. As legislators, Mr. Speaker, we are often measured not by what we pass, but by what we permit. If we permit delay in the face of alleged abuses of power, then we too become complicit in the erosion of our democracy. Mr. Speaker, I urge this House and I urge the Senate to act with courage, clarity, and urgency. Let us not betray the public trust. Let us not allow this moment to pass into history as yet another chapter where accountability was sacrificed on the altar of political convenience. Mr. Speaker, the nation is watching, and the nation deserves better. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Bordado. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the privileged speech of the Honorable Gabriel Bordado to the Committee on Rules.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the speech of Honorable Bordado is referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Raul Daniel Manuel of the Kabataan Party List to avail of the privilege hour.
The Honorable Raul Gabriel Daniel Manuel of the Kabataan Party List is recognized.
Salamat, Mr. Speaker. Muli po akong tumatayo sa inyong harapan bilang kinatawan ng kabataan na nagdadalamhati sa sinapit ng isa na namang kapakabataan kamakailan lamang. Trigger warning po sa mga nakakarinig because this speech has mentions of suicide. Noong May 19, 2025, kumalat sa social media ang post ng isang ama, si Oliver Toledo, tungkol sa pagpanaw ng kanyang anak na si Junver Toledo, isang mag-aaral ng BS Physical Therapy Program sa ilalim ng College of Rehabilitation Sciences sa Universidad ng Santo Tomas o UST. Mula sa partido ng mga kabataan, ipinapaabot ng representasyong ito ang taos-pusong pakikiramay sa pamilya at iba pang minamahal sa buhay ni Junver. Magtatapos na sana siya ng pag-aaral ngayong buwan ng Hunyo, kung hindi dahil sa isang subject kung saan nabigyan siya ng below passing grade. 1.5% na lang di umano ang kulang sa kanyang marka para makapasa siya batay sa pinataw na standards and outcomes. Ayon sa kanyang mga kamag-anak, binilang na si Junver sa listahan ng candidates for graduation at nakapag-pictorial na rin siya nang bigla siyang sinabihan na hindi pala siya makakapagtapos dahil pangalawang beses na siyang bumagsak sa subject na iyon. May bigat sa salaysay ng kanyang pamilya na nagkukwento na in constant communication si Junver sa UST College faculty. Nakiusap siya na dagdagan pa ang academic projects o activities na pwede niyang gawin para makapasa sa subject na iyon at kung paano tinanggihan ng faculty ang mga hiling na ito ni Junver. To echo the response of Junver's brother-in-law to the administration of UST, and I quote, "It was a cry for help, and you blatantly ignored it." End of quote. Ang cry for help ni Junver ay hindi lamang kanya, kundi hinaing din ng maraming kabataan estudyante na dinadaganan sa kasalukuyang sistema ng edukasyon. Ang patuloy na pagpapatupad ng outcomes-based education nang walang konsiderasyon sa bigat ng workload ng mga mag-aaral ay hindi lamang nangyayari sa UST, kundi sa kalakhan ng mga paaralan sa bansa. Sa ilalim ng ganitong patakaran, sinasamba ang grades and metrics nang walang pagbibigay ng konsiderasyon sa partikular na danas ng mga estudyante at maging ng mga gurong inaasahang magpapatupad ng mga standards na binababa sa kanila. Sintomas ito ng mga pangmatagalang sakit sa edukasyon na marapat nating bigyan ng lunas. Mr. Speaker, masalimuot na usapin ang suicide. Maraming salik na kailangang unawain at hindi maituturing na iisa lamang ang sanhi ng desisyon ng kahit sinong yumao sa ganitong paraan. Subalit, sa kwentong ito ni Junver at ng kanyang mga kamag-anak, hindi rin maisasantabi ang bigat na idinulot ng mga patakarang umiiral sa pamantasang kanyang pinasukan. Kahit ang isang dating opisyal ng parehong pamantasan ay nananawagan para sa pagsisiyasat at pagtutukoy ng mga karampatang pagbabago sa pamamalakad ng universidad. Ayon mismo kay dating UST Vice Rector Father Virgilio Ohoy, dapat lamang nabigyang malasakit si Junver at lahat ng mag-aaral. To quote Father Virgilio in an article from the Varsitarian, the official student publication of UST, and I quote, "We exist for the student, not for any standard, not for any percentage in board passers or whatever. We should also put the very great weight on the good of students." End of quote. Mr. Speaker, one death is one too many. Ang sinapit ni Junver at kung paano siya humantong sa kanyang desisyon ay paalala sa ating lahat na palaging tanungin kung para saan ba at para kanino ang sistema ng edukasyon na ating pinapairal. The time for us to completely overhaul how we see education, and the time for us to act is now. How do we ensure that education places priority on the holistic learning of students and not solely on metrics and outcomes often dictated by foreign market demands? How do we metal academic rigor with the necessary compassion and understanding as we strive towards a nationalist, scientific, and mass-oriented education system? Para sa mas malalim na pagtalakay ng mga sagot sa mga tanong na ito, hinihikayat natin ang ating mga kapwa mambabatas na suportahan ang pagpapaunlak ng isang legislative inquiry, one that intends to focus on laws and related executive issuances that pertain to educational standards that we have today. Makakatulong ito para matiyak ng ating kapulungan na naipaplasta ang mga polisiyang gagabay sa ating mga paaralan para itaguyod ang isang sistema ng edukasyong tunay na naglilingkod sa ating mga kababayan. Isang sistema ng edukasyon kung saan tunay na natututo ang ating mga kabataang estudyante kesa maging pabigat lamang ito sa kanila. Yun lamang sa ngayon, Mr. Speaker. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Honorable Manuel. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Raul Manuel to the Committee on Rules.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, speech of Honorable Manuel is referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Gentleman from the 1st District of Oriental Mindoro, Representative Arnan Panaligan to avail of the privilege hour. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Arnan Panaligan of the 1st District of Oriental Mindoro is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me begin by quoting the words of Admiral Alfred Thayer Mahan, the famous naval strategist, who wrote, and I quote, "When the sea not only borders or surrounds, but also separates a country into two or more parts, control of the sea is not only desirable, but vitally necessary. Such a physical condition either gives birth and strength to sea power or makes the country powerless," unquote. Mahan made this assertion in his treatise entitled "The Influence of Sea Power Upon History" in 1890. From a distant past, Mahan speaks to us today with relevance as we face external threats to our control over the West Philippine Sea and as we grapple on how we can attain dominance over our vast maritime areas. Mr. Speaker, last May 20, 2025, the Philippine Navy celebrated its 127th anniversary. One of the highlights of the celebration was the commissioning of BRP Miguel Malvar, the newest and most modern guided missile frigate of the Philippine Navy. Let me greet the men and women of the Philippine Navy, led by the flag officer in command, Vice Admiral Jose Maria Ambrosio Ezpeleta, on the occasion of their anniversary, and extend my congratulations for the significant improvements that the Navy has attained in terms of its capabilities and operational readiness. The Philippine Navy is no longer a World War II Navy with a fleet of vintage ships. It is now a 21st century Navy that has started to acquire a fleet of modern warships. However, much still needs to be done to upgrade our Philippine Navy into a truly modern and credible deterrent force that is capable of securing our maritime zones and denying to any foreign power access to our waters. Mr. Speaker, I therefore rise on a question of personal and collective privilege to call for urgent and decisive action to build up and strengthen our naval capabilities in order to protect and secure the vast maritime areas of our archipelagic nation as defined in Article 1, Section 1 of the 1987 Constitution, as elucidated in Republic Act Number 12064, or an act declaring the maritime zones under the jurisdiction of the Republic of the Philippines, and as recognized by international law, particularly the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. The total maritime areas of the Philippines, including our exclusive economic zones, is approximately 2.2 million square kilometers, significantly larger than the total land area of the country, which is 300,000 square kilometers. Our archipelago is composed of 7,641 islands with a coastline of 36,389 kilometers. We are indeed a maritime nation. Our exclusive economic zone is rich in marine life and aquatic resources, which can address the food security needs of our people. It can contribute to the development of the domestic fishing industry and provide livelihood to millions of our fisher folk. It is also believed that the seabed and subsoil within our exclusive economic zone contain mineral resources such as oil and natural gas, and it also offers potential for harnessing wind and tidal power, thus contributing to our nation's energy security. However, we can explore, exploit, utilize, and enjoy the natural and mineral resources in our country, in our waters, only if we have the means and capability of establishing control and dominance over our country's maritime zones. The build-up of our naval power is therefore a matter of transcendental importance for our nation. In a maritime nation such as ours, a strong navy is an imperative for national security, national economic development, and for the nation's survival. Mr. Speaker, in recent years, we have been at the receiving end of the aggressive and hostile acts of the Chinese Coast Guard and maritime militia against our vessels right in our maritime areas. These include the harassment of our sea forces performing rotation and resupply missions on our troops at BRP Sierra Madre in Ayungin Shoal through dangerous maneuvers, the pointing of military-grade laser, and the use of water cannons on our ships, the employment of deafening acoustic device, and other acts of harassment that endanger the lives of our service members. Civilian vessels carrying Filipino scientists out to conduct marine research at Sandy Cay were subjected to aggressive acts and interference by the Chinese Coast Guard. All of these hostile acts are properly documented and have been the subject of numerous diplomatic protests. Filipino fishermen that ventured near Scarborough Shoal within our exclusive economic zone, as affirmed in the July 12, 2016 arbitral ruling, were on certain occasions subjected to harassment and prevented from pursuing their livelihood in their traditional fishing grounds by Chinese maritime forces. Mr. Speaker, our inability to establish dominance in our maritime areas because of the inadequacy of our naval capabilities has invited acts of aggression perpetrated by a foreign power against our forces in our own waters, notably in the West Philippine Sea. Our sovereignty, sovereign rights, and jurisdiction over our maritime zones are therefore vulnerable to external challenges. As Admiral Mahan put it, the absence of sea power renders a country powerless. Mr. Speaker, we are now reaping the results of our decades of failure to adequately invest in building a modern naval force with the capability to secure our waters and assert our sovereignty and sovereign rights in our maritime areas. We have enacted the Armed Forces Modernization Law, but the annual budgetary allocation that is required to fund the various projects to upgrade the capabilities of the armed forces, particularly the Navy, has always fallen short. Mr. Speaker, this is not an ideal situation in an archipelagic nation. A professor at the U.S. Naval Academy and an author of essays on maritime strategies, Clark G. Reynolds, wrote that for maritime nations, the Navy has been the strategic arm of the nation's defensive structure and dominates the defensive policies of the government. Mr. Speaker, I therefore issue this appeal to the political departments of our government, to the executive department, and to the legislative department to give priority to the upgrading of the capabilities of the Philippine Navy. A few weeks from now, after the State of the Nation address of the President, he will submit to the 20th Congress the National Expenditure Program for fiscal year 2026. I urge the executive branch, through the Development Budget Coordinating Committee, or DBCC, to set a higher ceiling for projects geared towards the upgrading of our naval capabilities and the modernization of our naval forces. A higher budgetary outlay for naval modernization will enable the Philippine Navy to acquire additional guided missile frigates and other warships, including submarines, shore-based anti-ship and air defense missile systems, and command and control and surveillance systems. It will enable the Philippine Navy to completely equip our warships with the missile armaments and sensors that are necessary to make them mission capable. Our first two missile frigates, the BRP Jose Rizal and BRP Antonio Luna, are not yet completely fitted with some of the specified weapons, such as the vertical launch system and close-in weapon system 5 years after their delivery. A higher budgetary outlay for the Philippine Navy will further enable it to construct additional naval operating bases and stations in strategic areas of the country in order to effectively secure our archipelagic sea lanes and give it the capability to deploy its assets rapidly in the event of a conflict at sea. Furthermore, a bigger allocation for the Navy can be utilized to hire additional officers and sailors to man the new warships that will be delivered, train its men and women in modern naval combat, and improve their overall well-being. Mr. Speaker, I was invited by Vice Admiral Ezpeleta at the 127th anniversary of the Philippine Navy held at Naval Operating Base Subic, with President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. as a guest of honor. After BRP Miguel Malvar, FFG 06, was formally commissioned by the Commander-in-Chief, I was given a tour of the warship by Navy officers. They explained to me the range of capabilities of our newest guided missile frigate, and it was impressive. This October, another Malvar-class frigate will be delivered to the Philippine Navy, the future BRP Diego Silang. The Malvar-class warships are more advanced and capable than the Rizal-class frigates that were earlier acquired by the Navy. I was able to meet several senior and junior naval officers, some of whom are assigned at BRP Miguel Malvar, and I was impressed with their professionalism, competence, and deep sense of duty. That is why, Mr. Speaker, I believe that if we will give our Navy the proper and necessary support, they will be able to guard our maritime zones, uphold our nation's sovereignty, preserve our territorial integrity, and make our republic safe and secure. I urge the Department of National Defense and the Armed Forces of the Philippines to propose a higher allocation for naval capability upgrading projects. I appeal to DBCC to approve a higher budget proposal of the DND and AFP for naval modernization. I hope the incoming 20th Congress will be fully supportive of projects that will improve the capabilities of the Philippine Navy. Mr. Speaker, building a modern and capable Navy cannot be done overnight, but we have to act now with full speed in the light of the threats that we are currently facing in our maritime zones and the potential of a full-blown conflict in the East Asian region. Mr. Speaker, I want to stress that spending for naval modernization should not be viewed as a financial burden on the part of the government. With control and dominance over our maritime zones because of a strong naval force, we can fully enjoy the utilization of the marine and mineral resources in our maritime areas, thereby addressing our food and energy security requirements. Investing in a naval build-up is therefore investing not only in national security, but in national economic development as well. In other words, building a strong Navy and attaining sea power is an essential element in building a strong, stable, and prosperous nation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Panaligan. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Arnan Panaligan to the Committee on Rules.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the speech of Honorable Panaligan is referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we terminate the privilege hour.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the privilege hour is terminated. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we proceed with additional reference of business and that the Secretary General be directed to read the titles of the resolutions on first reading. So moved.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the Secretary General is directed to read the additional reference of business. Mas clear ito.
Additional reference of business. Resolutions. House Resolution 2277, congratulating Ms. Maria Atisa Manalo for winning the Miss Universe Philippines title on May 2, 2025.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2278, urging that the Committees on Aquaculture and Fisheries Resources and Natural Resources jointly conduct an investigation on the operations of Chinese firms involved in environmentally destructive and exploitative activities, including the dredging operations in Cagayan River, which have devastated the livelihood of local fishers and damaged coastal ecosystems, by Representatives Brosas, Castro France, and Manuel.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2279, directing the Committee on Government Enterprises and Privatization to conduct an urgent investigation on the joint venture agreement between San Jose del Monte City Water District and Prime Water Infrastructure Corporation and its onerous impact on SJDM's water supply, and to probe into the overall effect of Prime Water's JVAs on the financial viability of local water districts, the quality and affordability of water services, and the well-being of consumers across the Philippines, by Representatives Brosas, Manuel, and Castro France.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2280, expressing the grave concern and condemnation by the House of Representatives over campus press freedom violations perpetrated against student publications and journalists leading up to and during the campaign period of the 2025 national and local midterm elections, by Representative Manuel.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Resolution 2281, expressing profound condolences of the House on the demise of Ricky Davao, by Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2282, expressing profound condolences of the House on the demise of former Finance Secretary Edgardo B. Espiritu, by Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2283, congratulating and commending Honorable Michael L. Romero, PhD, representative of the One Pacman Party List, and his team Global Port for their monumental victory in the Cornelius Vanderbilt Whitney Cup held on February 9, 2025 in Wellington, Florida, by Representatives Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Gonzales Aurelio, Dalipe, Libanan, Marcos, Romualdez Yadamari, and Dasidre.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2284, expressing the profound sorrow of the House on the demise of His Holiness Pope Francis, Pontiff of the Roman Catholic Church, by Representatives Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Gonzales Aurelio, Dalipe, Libanan, Marcos, Romualdez Yadamari, and Dasidre.
Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2285, commending and congratulating the Philippine men's curling team for winning the first gold medal for the Philippines in the 9th Asian Winter Games held in Harbin, Pyongyang, China, on February 14, 2025, by Representatives Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Gonzales Aurelio, Dalipe, Libanan, Marcos, Romualdez Yadamari, and Asidre.
The Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2286, expressing the profound condolences of the House to the family of Honorable Artemio Ascuna Adaza Jr., former representative of the 1st Legislative District of Zamboanga del Norte during the 8th and 9th Congresses, and former Deputy Secretary General of the Legislative Operations Department, by Representatives Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Gonzales Aurelio, Dalipe, Libanan, Marcos, Romualdez Yadamari, and Dasidre.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2287, commending and congratulating Alexandra Alex Maniego Ayala for reaching ranked number 72 in the Women's Tennis Association rankings, becoming the first Filipina to enter the WTA Top 100 in WTA Tour history, after her impressive performance in the WTA 2025 Miami Open, by Representatives Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Gonzales Aurelio, Suarez Dalipe, Libanan, Marcos, Romualdez Yadamari, and Asidre.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2288, expressing the profound condolences of the House to the family of Ms. Nora Cabaltera Villamayor, popularly known as Nora Honor, a national artist for film and broadcast arts, by Representatives Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Gonzales Aurelio, Suarez Dalipe, Libanan, Marcos, Romualdez Yadamari, and Asidre.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2289, expressing the profound condolences of the House to the family of Ms. Pilita Corrales, the Asia's Queen of Songs, by Representatives Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Gonzales Aurelio, Suarez Dalipe, Libanan, Marcos, Romualdez Yadamari, and Asidre.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2290, expressing the profound condolences of the House to the family of Honorable Estelito P. Mendoza, former Solicitor General, Justice Minister, member of the Batasan Pambansa, and Governor of Pampanga, by Representatives Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Gonzales Aurelio, Suarez Delipe, Libanan, Marcos, Romualdez Yeda Marie, and Isidre.
The Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2291, urging the House to conduct an investigation into the anomalous automated election system and other election-related issues during the 2025 national and local midterm elections, by Representatives Manuel, Brosas, and Castro France.
The Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2292, strongly condemning the China Coast Guard's use of water cannons and dangerous maneuvers against a Philippine research ship in the West Philippine Sea, and urging the Philippine government to lodge a formal diplomatic protest and pursue all legal remedies under international law, by Representative Rodriguez Rufus.
The Committee on Foreign Affairs.
House Resolution 2293, urging the Committee on Transportation to conduct an inquiry on the preparedness of the MMDA to re-implement the no-contact apprehension policy following the partial lifting of the temporary restraining order by the Supreme Court, amidst previous unresolved issues and public concern against its implementation, by Representative Gutierrez.
The Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2294, urging the MMDA to suspend the implementation of the odd-even coding scheme to facilitate thorough socio-economic evaluation, alternate route planning, and broad-based consultation for holistic and sustainable transport solutions, by Representative Lee.
The Committee on Metro Manila Development.
House Resolution 2295, congratulating and commending His Holiness Pope Leo the 14th as the 267th Bishop of Rome, by Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2297, honoring the life and legacy of Filipino music icon Freddie Aguilar and expressing the profound condolences and deepest sympathies of the House over his passing, by Representatives Mercado Revilla, Revilla Bryan, and Revilla Ramonjolo.
The Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2298, congratulating Police Major General Nicolas D. Torre III on his appointment as the incoming Chief of the PNP, by Representative Plato.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Resolution 2299, commending Police General Romel Francisco Di Marbil for his exemplary leadership and distinguished service as Chief of the PNP, by Representative Plato.
To the Committee on Public Order and Safety.
House Resolution 2300, expressing the profound condolences of the House on the passing of Margarita Gaita Flores, renowned Filipino chef, restaurateur, and culinary advocate, by Representative De Venecia.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 2301, congratulating His Holiness Pope Leo XIV on his election as the new Supreme Pontiff of the Roman Catholic Church, by Representatives Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Gonzales Aurelio, Suarez Delipe, Libanan, Marcos, Romualdez Yeda Maria, and Isidre.
To the Committee on Rules.
Committee reports. Committee Report 1458, submitted by the Committees on Science and Technology, Appropriations, and Ways and Means on House Bill 11513. Committee Report 1459, submitted by the Committee on Higher and Technical Education on House Resolution 2303.
Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the change of referral of the following measures. House Resolution numbers 2235, 2241, and 2245, resolution commending and congratulating the Philippine men's curling team for winning the first gold medal for the Philippines in the 9th Asian Winter Games. And House Resolution numbers 2258 and 2259, resolution commending and congratulating Alexandra Alex Maniego Yala for her outstanding performance in representation of the country. From the Committee on Youth and Sports Development to the Committee on Rules. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to reconsider the approval on third reading of House Bill number 11358 for perfecting amendments.
There is a motion to reconsider the approval on third reading of House Bill number 11358. Is there any objection? The Chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Consequently, Mr. Speaker, I move to direct the Secretary General to withdraw the transmittal to the Senate of House Bill number 11358.
Is there any objection? The Chair hears none. The motion is approved. The Secretary General is directed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider House Resolution number 2283 and that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the said resolution.
The Secretary General is directed to read the following resolutions. And so move. Session suspended. Read the title. Session resumed. Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, I reiterate my motion for the consideration of House Resolution number 2283 and that Secretary General be directed to read the title of the said resolution.
The Secretary General is directed to read the title of House Resolution number 2283.
House Resolution 2283, resolution congratulating and commending Honorable Michael L. Romero, PhD, representative of the One Pacman Party List, and his team Global Port for their monumental victory in the Cornelius Vanderbilt Whitney Cup held on February 9, 2025 in Wellington, Florida.
Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adoption of House Resolution number 2283. So move.
There's a motion to approve to adopt House Resolution number 2283. All those in favor say aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it. House Resolution number 2283 is hereby adopted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration of House Resolution number 2285 and that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the said resolution.
The Secretary General is directed to read the House Resolution number 2285.
House Resolution 2285, resolution commending and congratulating the Philippine men's curling team for winning the first gold medal for the Philippines in the 9th Asian Winter Games held in Harbin, Yongyang, China on February 14, 2025.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adoption of House Resolution number 2285.
There's a move to adopt House Resolution number 2285. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. The ayes have it. House Resolution number 2285 is hereby adopted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration of House Resolution number 2287. The Secretary General is hereby requested to read the title of the said resolution.
The Secretary General is directed to read the House Resolution number 2287.
House Resolution 2287, resolution commending and congratulating Alexandra Alex Maniego Ayala for reaching rank number 72 in the Women's Tennis Association rankings, becoming the first Filipina to enter the WTA Top 100 in WTA Tour history after her impressive performance in the WTA 2025 Miami Open.
Majority Leader.
Speaker, I move for the adoption of House Resolution number 2287. So move.
There's a motion to approve to adopt House Resolution number 2287. All those in favor say aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it. House Resolution number 2287 is hereby adopted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration of House Resolution number 2301 and that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the said resolution.
The Secretary General is directed to read House Resolution number 2301.
House Resolution 2301, resolution congratulating His Holiness Pope Leo XIV on his election as the new Supreme Pontiff of the Roman Catholic Church.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adoption of House Resolution number 2301.
There's a move for the adoption of House Resolution number 2301. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. The ayes have it. House Resolution number 2301 is hereby adopted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration of House Resolution number 2284 and that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of said resolution.
Is there an objection? Hearing none, the Secretary General is directed to read House Resolution number 2284.
House Resolution 2284, resolution expressing the profound sorrow of the House of Representatives on the demise of His Holiness Pope Francis, Pontiff of the Roman Catholic Church.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adoption of House Resolution number 2284 in consideration with House Resolutions number 2265, 2266, and 2268.
There's a motion to adopt House Resolution number 2284. All those in favor say aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it. House Resolution number 2284 in consolidation with House Resolution 2265, 2266, and 2268 is hereby adopted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration of House Resolution number 2286 and that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the said resolution.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the Secretary General is directed to read House Resolution number 2286.
House Resolution 2286, resolution expressing the profound condolences of the House of Representatives to the family of Honorable Artemio Ascuna Adasa Jr., former representative of the 1st Legislative District of Zamboanga del Norte during the 8th and 9th Congresses, and former Deputy Secretary General of the Legislative Operations Department.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for adoption of House Resolution number 2286.
There's a motion to adopt House Resolution number 2286. All those in favor say aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it. House Resolution number 2286 is hereby adopted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration of House Resolution number 2288 and that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the said resolution.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the Secretary General is directed to read House Resolution number 2288.
House Resolution 2288, resolution expressing the profound condolences of the House of Representatives to the family of Ms. Nora Cabaltera Villamayor, popularly known as Nora Honor, a national artist for film and broadcast arts.
Majority Leader.
Speaker, I move for the adoption of House Resolution number 2288 in consolidation with House Resolution number 2264.
There's a motion to adopt House Resolution number 2288 in consolidation with House Resolution 2264. All those in favor say aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it. House Resolution number 2288 is hereby adopted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider House Resolution number 2289 and that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of this resolution.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the Secretary General is directed to read House Resolution number 2289.
House Resolution 2289, resolution expressing the profound condolences of the House of Representatives to the family of Ms. Pilita Corrales, the Asia's Queen of Songs.
Majority Leader.
Speaker, I move for the adoption of House Resolution number 2289 in consolidation with House Resolution number 2263.
There's a motion to adopt House Resolution number 2289 in consolidation with House Resolution 2263. All those in favor say aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it. House Resolution number 2289 is hereby adopted. Majority Leader.
Speaker, I move for the consideration of House Resolution number 2290 and that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the resolution.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the Secretary General is directed to read the House Resolution number 2290.
House Resolution 2290, resolution expressing the profound condolences of the House of Representatives to the family of Honorable Estelito P. Mendoza, former Solicitor General, Justice Minister, member of the Batasang Pamansa, and Governor of Pampanga.
Majority Leader.
Speaker, I move for the adoption of House Resolution number 2290.
There is a motion to adopt House Resolution number 2290. All those in favor say aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it. House Resolution number 2290 is hereby adopted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that House Resolutions 2235, 2241, and 2245 be consolidated with the previously approved House Resolution number 2285.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that House Resolutions 2258, 2259 be consolidated with the previously approved House Resolution 2287. So moved.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consolidate House Resolution 2295 with House Resolution number 2301.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we adjourn session until 3 p.m. of June 3, 2025. So moved.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The session is adjourned until tomorrow, June 3, at 3 in the afternoon.